Sirus is a man of integrity, but the females who become his targets suffer from a certain agitation in their hearts. A fight is taking place. A bunch of soldiers are running around. A juicy demon is there in the middle of everything. The humans are shouting that the monster's formation is too tough. There's no way to win. The thick demon gave him a telling off. Hey friends, you all seem a bit scared. What's up? These humans really don't have the same taste as my king. This is the demon queen princess, Yug. A blonde friend on the ground talking to Sirus says, you have to run. These monsters are at a very high level. Don't worry about me. You're an F-rank trash. Terrible, useless, disgusting, worthless. You won't be able to do anything. But our dude is a Sigma. He says he came here to protect everyone's safety in the city. He won't run away at a critical moment like this. Don't worry, I know how to deal with her, okay? Damn, why she has to be so inflated. I'm not complaining. The boy is just like us there. He's saying that he won't run from the battle. He needs to bring justice to this world, fighting every creature. But his nose is bleeding. His friend tells him, stop acting crazy. My body can't even stand against her. How are you going to fight her? The goblin says to the queen, there's two alive there. She instantly orders to kill them, but our protagonist is stoic, standing there like a rock. Then she says she's going to make Sirus head a wine cup. But that's when the system rings. You need to add fuel to the fire. The queen is surrounded by a purple aura. She's in front of him and Jesus, she's that big? That would be a lot of work to do. But Elon Musk would envy my productivity. Her hand surrounds his entire head. She approaches with her big mouth to give him the lethal cruel blow. But suddenly the system shows. Full kiss completed. Sirus explains, his system can constantly increase his power if he can create agitation in female monster hearts. The blonde friend is there. Sirus, what are you doing there? The queen fell to the ground on her knees. The goblins are asking, Princess, what are you doing? Sirus just gives that sideways look / the sword passes like butter. The queen recovers her consciousness and steps back. She's confused. What happened to me? I got a little crazy, got heated. I was drooling and I don't know why. I was going to kill him. Why did I decide to kiss that filthy small human mouth? It's this jerk's thing. He has some damn magic. It's going to be a more complex battle than I anticipated. Siri shouts, for the safety of the people in this city, no matter what happens, I won't give up. I'll go all out until the end of the battle. I will put my honor, my values and my body at risk to save everyone. The goblins are talking among themselves. Damn, the dude there really kissed the princess? That's wild. I wish I was that human. Suddenly one other goblin comes shouting, you guys are crazy to question her feelings for the king. That human. He used some kind of magic, it must be. The queen is scared. I can't let the king know that I kissed a human. But there's something weird. Her heart is beating too fast. Sirus' little system says agitation value 15%. She sends the goblins to attack again. But he's stone cold as always. The trembolone goblin is already above, coming to give him that axe blow. Our guy is prepared and skillfully dodges the cut. But after blocking, his sword was screwed. He looks ahead. There's another coming with that hammer blow. At the right time he crouches. Right now his defense is the same, but his attack has increased. He cuts the goblin, but he was also able to dodge. But his weapon was divided. But there's another on his back. Give me a break. What's this? Siri says. Goblins were supposed to chill out a little at the beginning of the series, but those are desperate to kill the dude. He takes that sidestep and uses an aura cut with his increased power. The blonde friend is shocked. How is he holding up all this? This isn't the power of an F-class. Look how confident he is. But man, this Jim Brothers goblins aren't that easy to deal with. His cut only scratched the chest. He looks, hears something back. Is the queen coming from above, ready to strike with all her mighty thighs? Incredible display of power and flexibility. He's going to be crushed. He crosses his arm to try to defend, and an explosion happens. The blonde friend even closed her eyes there. Flying debris went everywhere. The goblins want to know what happened. They didn't expect this. Sirus is on the ground, and someone is using him as a mechanical bull. The goblins rush to save her, but the tail is coming. Isn't the back part we wanted, but it's the one that killed the goblin. She's there, gigantic, on top of our little guy. That is defenseless against such a monstrosity. The poor goblin was sent far away. The queen tells the goblins that no one should do anything. Whoever disobeys this order will suffer. From her facial expression, I think she's in the mood to play poker with our guy. The system says her agitation is already at 91%. She keeps asking herself, what's happening? The goblins are confident that the queen will kill him. She opens her mouth. I'm going to bite you to death. She grabs his head, saying that he looks tiny in her hands. My ex said the same words one time. She's going to end him by inflicting pain in his ears. They are turning red. A little drool appears. plus 50 defense. Sirus is there. What can I do? This is the price of my power. Even if it goes against my honor, I have to endure it for the safety of the people. Is hard, is squishy, is warm. But for the Empire, I will stay here until I have the necessary power to overcome this fight, no matter if it's an insult to me. But the queen was puzzled. What am I doing? Why did I feel like doing this with this human? Our guy is trying to resist the strong sequence of blows she's hitting him. She says she hates him. She can't understand why her body isn't responding to her orders. She's a powerful creature. What's happening? Our guy is there, gaining 120 agility. The goblins are already celebrating. The queen wants to kill him, right? I think so. But another one points out. Stop talking nonsense. You can see by her dog eye, red cheeks, and gasping that she's not trying to kill him. Our little guy is under there, gaining 130 defense, plus 150 attack power. He's just enjoying, getting stronger, he thinks. Now I have enough status to deal with these monsters. It's my turn to fight. He goes for a surprise attack in her back. She did want to get hit from the back, but not with that blade. So she says, "You are a traitor and an evil boy." She stopped him with the tail. Then she grabbed him by the neck. He notices that he hasn't gained enough strength yet. Now the goblins are cheering again. I told you. She wanted to kill him. She's very cruel and was just playing mind games with that poor human. Our guy realizes he's without armor, but he's not scared. Look at his Sigma face. The demon stretches out her hands, getting ready for a lethal blow. And she's thinking that she has to endure it. She has to resist all this urge. But there's something building up inside her. The system says agitation value 100%. Our guy is being crushed. He's under the happy mountains. She's coming down. It's time for a delicious punishment. He says with his current strength he can't defeat this monster. His friend is there, asking herself, this is a fight? Our guy is already closing his eyes, repeating in his own head. For the safety of the city, I'll be a small sacrifice for the greater good. Even if she uses all her weight to finish me up, I'm not hesitating. I will stay here. I will fight to the end. It's time to show her what happens when I get serious. He throws his hand behind her head. I'll show you my power. He pulls her closer. Gains more defense, more strength, more concentration, more everything at this point. The goblins are all perplexed. A guy from far away saw everything. He says, "My beloved, what are you doing, babe?" He's the king and her husband. But look at her face, while our boy is all smiles. She looks to the side. Oh, it's the king. Sirus thinks he won't take it well. The system warns. It's detected that the demon king took a critical hit. All your bonuses are doubled. But now the cuckold is going crazy, while she's there stuck to our guy, saying, "Hey, I'll explain. It's not what you're thinking." Sirus is thinking, I don't know if my current strength is enough. But here comes another big bite from her. The bull shouted and went flying in their direction, telling the queen to get out of the way, hitting them with a sword strike that was defended. But Sirus was thrown to the ground next to the blonde girl. She asks, "Sirus, are you okay?" He gets up there, saying he can still take a little more. Staring at the broken relationship, he thinks how the king had disappeared and in an instant was in front of him. Not to mention that the attack power was much higher than he thought. The demon king says to the queen, "Didn't you say this wouldn't happen again?" Per king, isn't even the first time. This is the demon lord Barrett rank A. He tells the queen that he has forgiven some of her small mistakes. So why is she still acting like this? She screams, the reason for all this is his fault. Why was he so late? Why did he take so long? Okay, the cuckold's fault is that he didn't come home on time. The king is shocked. What do you mean? Even the goblins got puzzled. She scolds him, saying it's all his fault. All this happened because he was late again. That's why she does these things. And he still has the audacity to question her and threaten her. The king is there, speechless, stuck, unable to say anything. She continues scolding him. Why were you so late? Explain why you didn't get here earlier. She turns her head angry. The king tries to calm her. Oh my dear, don't get angry. I was wrong. I was dealing with other humans. Even the goblins are impressed with how the king lowered himself to the queens, accepting such a humiliation, while Sirus and his friend want to secretly slip away while no one's paying attention. The difference in strength between him and the king is too great, so Sirus helps his friend that has her legs hurt to get out of there. Back to the cuckold, the queen is saying it's all a problem with the king never being on time, that humans seduced her because he wasn't there. The angry bull accepts it. It's true, my dear, no need to cry. It's all my fault, but it's all fine. I'm going to kill him now, so don't feel bad. She grabs his leg, saying of course she won't feel bad. He's the love of her life. How could she fall in love with someone like that human? Just because she couldn't resist doing all of that with him, that doesn't mean that she likes him. The king sees that Sirus is fleeing away, then asks the goblins, "Aren't you doing anything?" The goblin says the queen told us not to interrupt her fun cause she wanted to enjoy all that she could. The king gives a shout, "You bunch of idiots!" flying towards Sirus. That unfortunately is distracted. He's back-facing. He notices in the last instant. An explosion happens, and Sirus H was thrown this time. He's in pain, and the queen is just watching, and she saw him falling next to her. Sirus even broke some ribs, and knows that he has no way to defend himself against that guy. Not to mention he's too fast for him to react at the moment. He's no match for that, and he's coming again. The kings come raging. Sirus is about to be cut in half. Barrett shouts, "I'm going to cut you in half for seducing my pure beloved wife." Sirus thinks there's no escape anymore. The strike was about to hit when the queen slapped the king in the face. The king got bugged, how come? Meanwhile, Sirus has already gotten up and is running away. The king is crying, "Why my beloved is doing this?" She just apologizes, saying that she feels very bad, but she can't see that guy die. Those words gave another critical hit to the king. This betrayal was too much. All that Sirus wants is to get out of this place now. The queen looks at the king and asks for the body of that human, cause she wants to do her cruel attacks on him like she did before until he passes out. That was too much for the king. He couldn't take it anymore. He felt as if losing a battle would be 100 times better. Then says, "My dear, what are you talking about? Is that really what you wanna?" But she's going crazy. She needs Sirus right now. The king even had to hold her. While crying he says, "You said I was the love of your life. Don't go to him. I'm the king. He's just a small human." But she just ripped her hand off him, activated her power, jumped on him, saying she can't take it anymore. She needs to let it all out. What it is, I don't know. You tell me, my brother. She gives him a big hug, and the king from afar sees everything, while our guy is gaining more power. 140 more concentration, more attack, more speed. Look at his face in pain and agony, thinking that all he can do now is try to survive, right? The king asks, "My beloved, is it because I'm not good enough, or is it that human's fault? What does he have that I don't have? I'm going to kill him now for you." But she gives him that stare. "Don't bother us. We have a lot to do right now." He even fell to his knees. The system says that the demon Lord Barrett collapsed, and Sirus gains 5 more levels. The blonde friend says it's time to flee. She comes to give him a sword, but he tells her, "Don't do this, it is dangerous." And she gets hit by a tail slap and was thrown against the wall. The queen keeps hurting Sirus, saying that she feels that she's not the same person as before. But strangely, in her heart, she feels a lot of joy. While she's in all that joy, the king is getting up, saying he's tired of this. It's all lies. He comes to hit her again. But when he saw her lovely face, he stopped. Even though Sirus was right under her, the king didn't have the courage to hurt that beautiful creature that the queen was. He starts crying, turns black and white as if his soul got broken. Drop the sword. He can't take it anymore. His soul is already leaving the body. The system says Demon Lord Barrett has entered a total collapse and is about to self-destruct. 3 more levels for Sirus, queen, and she asks, "What are you doing, Barrett?" The goblins want to flee. "Let's get out of here, queen." But she's being held by the king that wants to go to the afterlife with her. This collapse of the king has finally made Sirus reach level 10, and with that he receives a new ability, the Pleasure Slash. Seeing that such a thick queen would die, our boy didn't hesitate to use his new skill to finish the king, cutting right through him. The Pleasure Slash is a skill where the body becomes a shadow, and you teleport through the enemy within 5 m, slashing right in the target. The queen is scared to see the king falling to the ground, but with that his self-destruction has passed. Our guy realized that if he levels up he'll gain more upgrades, more skills, while the queen shows how cruel she is. When she saw the king laying on the ground, she thought, he really had a weak mind and body. Didn't deserve someone like me. But even without a head, the king jumped on her, hugging her waist. She'll die along with her promise. She says she doesn't want to, but he already activated self-destruction again. Our boy was already running when she saw the queen crying desperately. "Someone save me, please." Our guy sent the slash, grabbed her arm. "Gotta save the juiciest one." Everything blows up, but our guy is gonna escape with the baddies, right? Everybody fell to the ground. There's someone above him and a lizard on top of his chest. It is the body of the demon queen Yug, but with a life value of 9. She took a little run by his body and went into his pocket. His friend is doing us a favor, but Sirus just wants to look at the system that says, "Lord Demon Barrett defeated successfully. Reward for elimination, dungeon map. Wow, my reward is a map. Should I click on this map or not? I need to think very carefully. Our boy is taking his time for sure, like he really has to think a lot. Oh hey, how are you? Can you get off there please? She finally got off. He clicks on the system and opens the map of the place. The map is showing everything, where the dead ends are, where the traps are, the resources you can get, and even the boss room mark. He's excited. This way they can go straight to the boss room without worrying about getting lost. The blonde asks, "What are you seeing there?" He says that it's nothing. Only he can see the system. He gets up there and helps her. That's when he feels something in his heart. He falls to the ground vomiting weird stuff. The blonde asks what is going on. The hand of our guy is already turning purple. The little finger is shining. Damn, broken little finger. What's happening? He's agonizing, rolling on the ground. On his back there, something's already coming out. She asks what's happening, then comes to hug him. She feels that his body is hot as if he's catching fire. His little finger seems to have dissolved. Our guy is gonna lose consciousness in the arms of the waifu? After some time he finally recovers. She asks Sirus what's happening with his body. Why is it melting? He explains that he was poisoned. The city of Warcraft was attacked 6 months ago. He saw a bunch of monsters fighting against the guild folks, and one of the guild members was carrying a box. The boss came to give a hit that landed right on the box, which was destroyed by the monster. When that opened, Sirus was thrown far away, buried in rocks. The box was dripping with the same stuff he vomited. The demon got in front of that guy, and from the sky rained blood. The smell was so terrible he started vomiting. Every flesh disintegrated when touched by that rain. Even the monsters were dissolved, but he, buried in the rocks, was safe from the rain. But even without touching it, just by smelling it, he was poisoned. When he woke up in the hospital, the doctor said he had at most a year to live, but the blood of the demon god could save him. That's when the system appeared with a message: if you accept the system, you'll have a chance to get the blood of the demon king. Obviously he accepted right away. It was that or die, and the system told him that the blood of the demon king is in the Nair dungeon. Back in the dungeon, he says he learned how to recover slightly when the venom attacks him after a while. But now he needs the blood of the demon king because he's running out of time. He needs to go and finish this place so he can get that blood. But first they need a few more armors and equipment, right? They'll have to go through a room nearby to search for some new items. The scene changes to a group of adventurers walking through the dungeon. The guy was there with his shield in front, all confident. But his eye closed, and in a second a laser passed right through the middle of his face. The blonde guy told everyone to calm down. If you make a wrong move, you might trigger some hidden mechanism and kill another person. Even the tank, who was the most resistant here, died in one hit. But someone has to clear the way, so who's gonna go? Or who's gonna be dragged? The guy with the bangs shows up and says whoever has the lowest level goes first. Those are the rules. The weakest guy says, "You are crazy, I don't want to do this." But Bangs explains, "You already know what's gonna happen. You either die there or die here." Threatening him with the sword, he says, "You know the consequence of disobeying orders, don't you?" The blonde guy tells him to wait. He made a device that rebounds. Give it to the guy. It'll at least increase his chance of survival. But the psycho just cut it off, saying that is unnecessary. But his friend asks, "Dude, what was that? That could have helped everyone." The guy with the bangs says, "If you show me other garbage like this, I'll kill you now, get up." The guy is shaking, thinking about the fact that he can die at any instant while searching for traps. He tries to be as careful as possible, step by step. It's a mix of relief and desperation. He just stares at the ground. The crazy guy says, "Come on, we don't have all day." He wants to lift his leg, but he's sweating. His weak arms are heavy, there's vomit on his sweater. Mom's spaghetti. One more step forward. Nothing happened. Now keep going. The guy's about to go crazy. He can't walk anymore. There's no more courage left in his body. So shouting that he doesn't want to die, he runs towards them. But he stepped right at that moment. Everyone is shocked and confused. This time the killing blow came from above. So the device changes even the direction of the attack, and there's no way to know where it's coming from. The guy's body falls lifeless to the ground, signalizing the danger of taking a single step. The guy with the bangs coldly says, "Now, who's the lowest level?" But it's at this moment that a doorway down the corridor opens. The guy turns to see what it is. It's our Sirus. Apparently, they know each other because the blonde guy says Sirus is from the distraction team, and he should be dead by now. Crazy One didn't like seeing Sirus alive and shouts, "You idiot, how are you still alive?" Sirus is confused with that question and asks, "What do you mean?" Then some time before they went to the dungeon, the guy shouts, "You bastard! How do you know the color of my wife's panties? Explain how you have such accurate information about her body also." Sirus says he's training his intuition for the next battle and that's why he can perceive the color of anything around him. The cuck of this time didn't like that. He already goes to cut Sirus' neck and asks him one more time, "Explain, why do you know this? What's your relationship with her?" The cuck friends hold him back. "Calm down, Captain. You can't kill anyone in the city or you'll be arrested." Then hits his chest shouting, "I won't allow you to tarnish my integrity like this. I'll show you the result of my training. My intuition helps me with any gender, so I know this about you guys. The one on the right isn't wearing anything, you're wearing pink, and the two on the left are a couple." One of the cuck's friends looks at the captain and says, "Captain, I think we should kill this guy anyway. That's the best logical mature decision." But on the other side, the guy says, "Captain, you can't kill him. If they find out it was you, you're screwed." That's when they got an idea. "Let's put him in the bait group that goes in front. He's gonna die anyway." Back to the dungeon, Sirus is thinking, "Why did I meet the subjugation team again?" Cuck 2.0 says, "Siri, you come here now as the expedition captain. I order you to come." Sirus knows what the guy's intention. He wants to see where Sirus dies to know where the trap is. But the blonde guy tells Sirus not to move and says, "Captain, we can just go back the same way he came. It's easier for everyone and no one will risk its life." "But do you think the villain's gonna do something smart?" He says no, they've already lost too many friends to get here. They're gonna move forward. What is the logic? None. And that's what the blonde guy thought. But the captain says they don't have to worry. Sirus' intuition is so good that he's not going to die unless he disobeys the orders. The system tells Sirus the safe route, and just to provoke the captain, our guy makes a stupid face and then goes in their direction. The blonde girl holds his hand and tells him not to go. She knows something's wrong with this path. It's better they look for another direction than to him just dying meaningless. But Sirus says that is the captain's orders, so he has to go. He takes the first step and everybody's impressed that he's really coming. How does he have all this courage? This rank F is out of his mind. But the system is telling him about all the safe spots. Go forward 3 spaces and then turn to the left. Without hesitation, Sirus just goes the guys. Everyone thinks that he's the luckiest guy alive. And Sirus keeps going smoothly, turns left, takes 2 steps, turns right. He's already getting there, does a little jump. The guys don't understand what he's doing. How can he be so bold and so reckless? Sirus almost lost his balance, scaring everyone. The boss, his captain, is looking, thinking why he hasn't activated any mechanism. The system says it's just 5 more steps. And Sirus is 100% confident that he's not going to die. The captain is just looking at him incredulously. He passes by the dead body and finally reaches the team. Everyone is thinking that he really has the best possible intuition, and that's why he survived and also knew the color of the captain wife's panties. Sirus then says, "This is the result of my training. I'm innocent." The captain instantly puts the blade on his neck. He can't believe it's all based on intuition. This little guy is lucky, but sooner or later his luck will have to run out. Them tells him to go ahead. Sirus is leading smoothly until he sees a mushroom there. The system warns that mushroom increases physical strength but causes diarrhea. He remembers the monster girl in his pocket, right? Is she hungry? Gonna give her these mushrooms here. Or maybe he's going to eat cause he's already drooling, wanting to take a bite. Suddenly the captain asks what he's doing, and he says that he's just getting some mushrooms there. The captain snatches it from his hand, instantly eats and says, "Everything in this dungeon belongs to the crusade team. You can't take anything without permission." While he hits Sirus' chest, our boy tells him, "Alright, Captain, I'll follow your orders." He knows that soon the captain will have a bad time in this dungeon. The blonde guy says to Bella, "I'm sorry, I didn't know you were put in that group." At least she's being healed there. She says she joined this group voluntarily. The guy asks, "Why?" She just looks at Sirus while he's there, telling the guy that door there will lead to the boss, and the door next to it leads to a dead end. After some time, her fracture has already been healed. Then he asks her, "Bella, don't tell me you joined this group just to protect that F-class trash imbecile loser." She says that it is correct, she wants to protect Sirus. But the guy explains to her that the investigation and bait group only serve for us to discard people. Whoever is in this group is just a waste of resources. The only way they serve is to die on the front lines. She shouldn't do something like that again. But it's alright, he's going to protect her. Sirus then tells the captain that this is the correct way. And he just tells him, "Alright then, go open the door." Our guy doesn't want it. The captain tells him, "Wait a minute. Are you asking my powerful members to go in and risk themselves?" No answer. Just go and open that door. With that, Sirus goes to open the door. The guy's already holding the sword there, scared that something's gonna appear. But the captain's stomach ache already started. Our guy opens the door very calmly. Everyone is dying with anticipation, but the guy in red is smelling something strange, huh? Is this smell familiar? It's not human? The captain turns, stop talking nonsense and get running again, or you'll be poisoned too. The leader reaches a wall. The captain says, Sirus, you knew what the properties of that mushroom were, and that's why you ran, didn't you? But Sirus tells him, Captain, no, what's the problem with the mushroom? But the captain is holding his pants. One of the members gets a stone for him to sit and rest. Captain, are you tired? You can sit down. But the captain just kicks it. Shut up, I don't need to sit. Then put the sword on the Sirus' neck saying, if you run again I'll kill you. Our protagonist says, alright captain, I'm not going to run, damn. Then they keep walking. Sirus is always given the right calls. Oh, don't step here. Huh, there's a big dragon right there next to it. Let's go this way to avoid the creatures altogether. Don't touch anything here. The captain finds it strange because the deeper we go, the less things they need to worry about. And besides that, they haven't seen any monsters yet. Is he really avoiding everything with his deduction skills? No, it's not possible. This guy would be eaten by a D-rank monster at any moment, let alone knowing the whole way. But Sirus tells them that they were almost at the boss's room. The captain draws his sword saying, if we get to the boss's room, you won't have to be alive anymore. I don't know if it was luck, but yours ended here. The captain notices that on top of Sirus, there's a pillar, so he activates an aura on the sword, sends a slash up there to hit right on our little guy's head. While it falls, he's thinking, it's just an F-class guy who died to a completely normal dungeon mechanism. But something suddenly appears from there. Sirus tries to protect himself while everything explodes. Something hits the captain in the chest. A big creature that was inside the pillar faces everyone, while Sirus ended up on the other side, separated from the group. The captain in shock. If he hadn't blocked it, he would have been dead. Our guy puts his hands on the stone thinking, damn, I'm stuck here. Then he heard a feminine voice saying, I'm a human being here. Oh, here comes another cruel monster girl for sure. The girl tells him that he's disgusting, making me remember the time that I confessed to my crush. And Jesus, this monster girl ain't Alaska but have some big white mountains. Then we see the fight with the teammates against the rock creature that is already releasing a big shout with an evil purple aura. It's a B-rank scorpion puppet. Everyone is trying to keep the formation because this creature is way too powerful for this low-level team. While Bella finds strange that the sword she received is too heavy. Tyr, the blonde guy, orders the defense group to prepare. They grab their shields. Then he calls the archers. The guys are at least organized. A rain of arrows is sent against the monster. Lightning is showering over it, but I don't think it's causing anything to the creature. That just hits the air with a blow that ripped everything off and even sent the arrows back. Tyr is in shock. All the arrows were stopped just with the wind of his blow. Not to mention they didn't even scratch it. The captain, who loves to order a lot and do nothing, says, "What are you standing here for? Go up now. There's no need to be afraid of just one monster." We're back with Sirus, who's thinking, what was that voice? He sees a little glint in the darkness, and suddenly something attacks him. He dodges it just in time to soon realize it was the tail of some creature that has already jumped on him. He moves aside and gets in the perfect position to punch the creature. Take this one with 3,190 power. Piercing the creature. It seems that all the hard work that he did with the last demon girl was pretty effective. The creature was evaporated, and the voice says, "You destroyed my creature with one punch." But Sirus is thinking that the elixir to remove this poison from his body is right in the room ahead. He can't waste his time with these meaningless fights. That's when the B-rank female Satyr shows up, saying she doesn't mind that he destroyed it because she doesn't want anything touched by a human hand. She was going to use that creature to rip his head off, but now she's gonna take care of that job herself. He sees that is another female monster and tells her, "My head won't come off so easily just with your hands, you're gonna have to use everything you have." But she tells him she won't touch his disgusting body with her hands. That would make her dirty. Then we see that she's controlling the monster on the other side with some lines. She says she'll deal with him first and then finish off the people outside, already lifting her foot there. Wow, the guy's already bleeding from the nose and all she did was lift her legs. Maybe she found Sirus' weak point. But there he comes with his speech, saying that protecting humanity is his duty. He's gonna stay here. He's gonna fight even if she tortures him. The system is starting to activate. She rushes to give him a kick, but surprises him by grabbing his neck with her thighs, throwing him to the ground. Sirus couldn't even react. The system finally locks on her, giving that little aura around that we know that is going to create some confusion in her mind. She's glaring at him from above. She's saying that he underestimates her abilities. The agitation is already at 16%. On the other side, her creature is getting shy and reddish. Tyr, seeing that, thinks his attacks are taking effect. Then Satyr touches Sirus' face with her lethal weapon, saying he's a human who got this far but now is going to be treated like a dog, torturing his face in a way that could rival some of the cruelest people in this world. She flicks on him very hard, saying she hates it when humans enter her room. Sirus is thinking that she's too strong, he can't allow this to happen, but now he is powerless against such strength, he needs to finish her off now. Looking at her foot, he gets ready to attack it, and then goes for a lethal blow. Satyr is confused. She asks what he's doing with her foot. He's crazy, but it's already plus 220 agility for our guy. Back on the other side of the fight, the knight was thrown to the ground, and the monster still red-faced. Bella's noticing there was no movement on Sirus' side. She just hopes that he isn't unconscious. She needs to get him out from under those rocks. Tyr tells her to wait, but she thinks that she really needs to save Sirus. She rushed, but the creature went to hit her back. She stopped there in a beautiful movement, and when she was about to get hit, Tyr defended. Seeing the rocks, she thinks Sirus is a guy that never gives up. I'm sure he's okay. Back to the other side, I think the cave is wet because Satyr's foot is wet and slippery. She says this water is disgusting, but our boy gained 340 agility. He almost lost his breath, but finally he freed himself. She's angry, saying she can't believe he dirted her foot like that. Sirus sees in the system that he can't use his only skill because he doesn't have a weapon to make a cut. If he knew, he would have brought even that broken sword, but since that's the case, he can only use his punch and he's already going for it. But Satyr easily dodges, giving him a nasty look. Now he really took a kick in the face. But you know what he did when he took that hit, right? The legendary popsicle hit. He was thrown far, but he gave her 54% agitation. Satyr started to whisper with herself, wondering what she's thinking. What's going on? She activates her line on the ground. She needs to kill this guy quickly. Pulls the line to one side, sends it towards Sirus. He stares at it, then sidesteps and dodges. After all that intense battle with her, he has enough status to dodge and predict some of her movements. He raises his hand, focusing his mana, and cuts the tail in half. But there's something coming at his face. He took another hit, falling to the ground again. Satyr really likes this move. She says he was caught again this time, and he won't escape. He'll be suffocated by her strong hip flexors and hamstrings. But Sirus is tired of this. He raises his hand, saying that he's going to show her the power he has in his grip, and then practices his forearm strength with all his might. But suddenly she hits him with a kick. Now she's really stepping hard. She's angry, saying that he should not use his nasty hand to touch her leg. She used the scorpion's tail he broke to lock him in the floor. Now he's screwed. He knows that even stealing status, she's too strong, too much for our boy. She says it's time to crush his head with. Sirus is gaining stamina, perception, he's gaining magic. While Satyr finds strange, why is it so interesting to walk over him? She says she wants to walk all over his physique. Agitation is at 66%. She activates the lines there on her monster that's also going crazy, already with its legs a little wobbly there. The guy that saw that we're thinking, he's already losing his balance. We're about to win. While Satyr comes with another aggressive blow, stepping on him. Look at the angry face she makes while crushing this poor guy. Belle's still running. Go girl, one day you will arrive, I believe in you. But suddenly the scorpion's tail is coming in front of her. She defended, but it was a hard impact. Tyr sees she was thrown far, and the captain there hasn't done anything but poop so far. Sirus is telling Satyr to wait, but she has no mercy. She doesn't stop. The pain is intense and the trauma is irreversible. The scorpion's tail this time is heading towards the captain, but he defends, sending the attack to the side that breaks the stone. Seeing that from the captain knew that if he hadn't defended it would have pierced him. In the poor boy's side, agitation is at 95 this time, and the monster is coming for the captain. He wasn't prepared to defend himself, but too late, cause there's nothing he can do. The captain defends himself and sees that the creature hesitated in front of him, and takes the opportunity to use his ability. The tiger that runs through the body. A bunch of cuts were done, and he sends the monster back. The group is impressed, while the captain is so strong. My god, one blow and he pushed it back. Meanwhile, the cruelty continues. Man, this is turning into actual torture. Even though before it was fun and games and toes. The captain is approaching, saying he's going to end it, just watch. While Satyr is confused with why she's going crazy. Why is she doing this to this human? She says she needs to calm down. There's something wrong. Her body is heating and her thoughts are getting wild. Sirus, on the other hand, is saying it's really hard to win over her. She has flexible legs, and moreover he can't find a place to escape. If it continues like this his body won't hold up, so he needs to go for a Saotama level attack. He opens his mouth as if he was about to eat a hamburger after starving for 100 days and goes for a crushing sequence of chewing. What he did not expect was that she would push her cruelty even deeper, telling him that he was saying too much and should just be stuffed in silence, saying, "I don't want to hear that disgusting voice of yours, shut up." That was the moment that Sirus reached Ultra Extinct, with 160 vitality, plus concentration, plus stamina. The captain is in his fight with the terrible creature. Here we are again. While the poor creature agonizes because of all quote-unquote pain, he defends the blow. He's feeling himself. Everybody says wow, it's the classic captain's move. The big one fell to the ground, while she lifts her foot after a precise blow to our kid. Around the creature everybody's celebrating there. While our boy is gaining another 3000 defense, plus 4000 agility. She's torturing the poor kid, 3200 perception. The captain is confident. I'm very strong. Satyr was enjoying every second when she heard a voice in her mind. Satyr, why are so noisy out there? It's the lords and boss from this place. She backs off from Sirus. Not even his power made her stay. She's confused and scared. Even for a moment, she forgot the lord's orders. She needs to kill this human quickly. She clenches her fist. I'm going to fix my mistakes. But Satyr gained 10,000 attack power and asked her, are you sure you want to continue this fight? She's confused. His aura looks like the boss aura, the owner of this dungeon, under such terrible pressure. Look how big he is in front of her. Right now she has no chance after all that intense exhaustive fight. So she ran away scared. Sirus didn't do anything, just got cruelly stepped on and let her go. When he saw her running away, the thought, am I going to chase her or just forget about it? My goal here is the blood of the demon god. It's not worth spending physical energy on her. Everybody around the captain is praising him. Wow, you're the bravest, invincible. While Bella is running over to the pile of stones, she's going to dig when boom. Look who's here, Sirus. She asks, are you okay? Are you hurt? But he tells her that he's fine, relax. She grabs his arm. No, I need to take a look, let me see. He tells her again that he's fine, she can chill now. Tyr from far away didn't like that Bella was so worried with Sirus. Captain raised his arm and gave a speech. Everyone listen, we're going to defeat the boss cause I'll show my strength to you all. Right now the captain's confidence is sky high, saying he's sure that this dungeon is not even D level. If he can win this, he'll be promoted and make a lot of money. Satyr is talking to the boss. Lord, there's a very strong human outside. Strangely, when he arrived, he seemed weak, but his power increased to an unimaginable size. Please be careful. The boss tells her, Satyr, what are my orders? She answered saying, I have to look at the door and not let anyone in. Then he tells her, so what are you doing here? She got lost in her fears, saying that she was stabbed, and then he blew up in power, and she ran without thinking. But the boss tells her that she will be dragged away, saying that he doesn't want to hear any excuses from her. He gave her a slap and sent her flying. She fell in a pile of bodies. She's thinking that she doesn't want to die like that. Will she help our buddy? The Lord is making an offering to a demon there, saying it's finally almost ready. Thousands of humans were used as fuel, and now the demon's blood is finally starting to boil. At that time the door explodes. Is it him? The captain. Lord looks back, asking who dares to enter his room. At that time the door explodes. Is it him? The captain. Lord looks back, asking who dares to enter his room. The captain says, I came to bring fear to your heart, and he's confident. The system shows that in the cauldron is something that can release Sirus poison. The demon looks at the captain and asks, is this the powerful human Satyr spoke of? Sirus is only thinking about how he can get that elixir for his curse. The captain and the guys are all cheering, go captain, show him the strength of humans. Sirus recognizes what's in the middle there. It must be the so-called blood of the demon. The boss made the pentagram, then just raised a finger and attacked the captain, a strong aura that consumed his armor. He was thrown far away. Everyone turned in shock, and he hit the wall. The soldiers were worried. Hey captain, are you okay? While the demon asks, is this the most powerful human Satyr was talking about? She really was a waste. The captain is there, finished and thinking, one blow and I was destroyed. It was lucky that I'm wearing this Dragon S rank armor my brother gave me. Otherwise, I would have died. The guys there come to help him up. Captain, your armor broke? But the captain is confused. What's up with this dungeon? Why are the forces of these beasts so different? It doesn't make sense for me to try to beat this guy. I'm gonna have to use my team to weaken this monster's strength, and then, when he's weakened, I'll act. That's the best course of action. He raises his sword, shouting, "Everyone follows my lead. Let's go for it. Everyone uses your special abilities." But Tyr says, "Captain, if everyone just goes without a plan, we'll suffer many casualties. It's better to use the strategy with the front shield." The captain shouts at him, "Are you questioning my judgment? Are you going to disobey my orders?" Tyr says that this is not the case. Captain tells him to shut up already. He turns to everyone. "Everyone grab your weapons and fearlessly go for it." Everyone rushes toward the boss, and the devil says, "You bunch of ants, it doesn't matter if you're alive or dead. Your flesh and blood are not even fit for an offering." Everyone's going for it, thinking that they have a chance. Now is the time to show him the difference between monsters and humans. But suddenly a laser came and wiped out everyone in a second. Sirus saved the day, but the rest got toasted. The captain dodges to the side just in time, but his sword is done already. The boss goes in his direction, floating. "You now feel fear." The captain understood that he couldn't win. He needs to find a way out. Tyr was seeing the arms of his buddies all burned. The captain runs away, screaming, "Follow my orders, retreat!" But Sirus grabbed him. The captain shouted, "You bastard, let go of me." Sirus tells him, "You said you were the strongest in this group. The battle with the boss isn't over yet, so you're not leaving." The captain swings his arm, trying to get away. "I'll do whatever I want. I'm the captain. If you want to die so badly, stay here alone." The devil raises his finger. "You invaded my home and now you want to flee?" The captain, in shock, "Look behind you, Sirus. He's gonna attack with that power. Let me go." The captain don't understand how he can't release himself from that trash F-rank grip. Everyone's running away. "I told you to let go already." He's coming to give him a blow. He's sure he's gonna win. But Sirus just holds onto his fist and almost breaks his hands. Then Sirus tells him, "You have to keep your word. If you're the strongest, protect your group," and throws him. He went face to face with the devil attack. An explosion occurred. Everyone's was running away, and the captain's body fell on the ground. Our protagonist says, "Now it's my turn," pulling out his broken sword. The juicy Bella says she wants to stay to help Sirus. Tyr also says he won't run away, but she looks at him and says, "You don't need to stay. I'll do it because of Sirius." Tyr says he knows, but he's the only rank B here. He's gonna destroy these creatures and he's not gonna run away. Devil warns everyone, "Even after seeing my power you are trying to escape? Don't underestimate me." But in 1 second Sirus was about to cut his arm. He used that insta-kill ability of his. The demon dodged by a small fraction, but Sirus took the opportunity to ran towards the ritual, scared by our guy's speed, who already ran off. The boss was confused with why is he running to the altar. Sirus was really close to obtaining what he has been desiring for such a long time, while Tyr and Bella took the opportunity to strike the boss back. Tyr thought to himself, "That's the opportunity." But in the blink of an eye the demon stopped both attacks with his bare hands. Then he aimed at Sirus, saying, "This bastard is fast like a cockroach, but I'm going to end this." But Bella told the boss that she would not let him attack Sirus. With beautiful cut and angle she trusted her sword with Tyr, making the boss lose his balance and barely missing the attack on Sirus. He used the explosion shockwave to launch himself to the altar. He was almost there. His antidote was a 1 finger of distance when he was stopped. The altar was protected by a magic array that sent him flying to the other side of the room. The boss told him that he created the magic array and as long as he was breathing it would be impossible to break it. Sirus told, "Makes sense. Just taking the elixir would be too easy. We need to kill you to proceed." That's when he noticed a leg by his side and went to see who it was. While Tyr and Bella were being beaten by the boss. That was saying that they were arrogant just by having the courage to attack him. Tyr and Bella fell to the ground while Sirus was thinking, "What is the female monster that I let escape? How did she end up like this?" Satyr was a bit red, trembling and big, telling Sirus to be quiet so no one knew they were there. At the moment Nazir the boss was saying that his ritual needed a calm place so he needs to finish them. It's time for their death. From far Sirus saw everything and was scared that Bella was in danger. He gave a mushroom to Satyr and went rushing to help his friends. Satyr saw the healing mushroom and began to cry. The system told to Sirus, "The female monster Satyr is developing affection towards. You completed the weapon requirements. Please choose one." Sirus was surrounded by cards while Tyr and Bella were about to die. Sirus shouted to the system to skip that. He needs to save his friends. But the system insisted he need to choose one right now. He picks up a random card, getting a golden and red blade, the exploding garment divine sword. He rushes behind the boss, telling him test his new blade. But once more Nazir grabs it with bare hands and tells him, "You fell for it. They were just bait. My target was you human cockroach, and now at such a close distance. Sirus shouted, slicing Nazir's hands once more, but he could only leave a small scratch. Nazir laughed at his face, but suddenly all of his clothes exploded, revealing a Jewishish voluptuous curvaceous body that I know that no one expected to be a XX chromosome holder. Nazir got shy, asking where the hell her clothes went, while Bella and Tyr were asking themselves the same thing. This Sirus stripped the boss? With an indomitable expression and a nose bleeding, Sirus said that this monster was truly powerful. The sword that he got from the system has two effects. On the first strike, it explode enemies' clothes, but on the second one it activates the ultimate move, the Divine Sword Descent. Nazir was trying to cover up herself, saying that she never expected such a despicable move and that now she's really going to kill him. But without hesitation, Sirus tried to attack her that skillfully dodged. Staring at her, Sirus thought, my first attack exploded her top, now I need to hit once more to vanish her underneath the robe. Then I just need to knock off her face mask and I will be able to trigger the ultimate move that is going to kill her. All he needs to do is use his unique flash/cut, but the system tells him that he can only use that 6 more times. Sirus tells the system that the only skill he has is an absolute trash. The system asks if he wants to turn it up, but he just says no, and teleports, aiming at Nazir's legs. Once more with a swift jump she dodged. In the air she was thinking about why he's aiming at her legs. He is not trying to destroy her lower robe, right? Poor Nazir. No hesitation, Sirus goes for another slash. She calls him a filthy bastard and steps on his chest, sending him far away. He was able to stop himself with the sword, but his nose was broken. But for him that pain was much lesser than the cursed pain. So he rushes her once more. The skills has a 10-second cooldown, so he dodges some of Nazir's attacks while decreasing the distance between them. When the 10 seconds were up, he used once more the swift body slash aimed at the legs, saying, let's see how you can dodge from something so close. He felt that his sword went through something and knew that he had landed a hit, but when he looked up, Nazir was standing on her tail, telling him that if it was not for the fear of showing the mountains, she would have already killed him. Using the laser attack that Sirus narrowly dodged, she kept striking while he was trying to gain time to use his swift attack again. But at some point he got cornered and had to deflect the attack head on. The explosions and shockwaves were extremely strong. Tyr couldn't believe what he was seeing. How could a F rank do that? Even he, who is a B rank, can't do anything. After the dust settling, Sirus was impressed with his sword. They told to Nazir that now her attacks would be useless against him. Nazir told him that this was true. Was hard for her to kill him, but was easy to kill her friend. Already sending a fire strike in her direction. At that second, Sirus used his swift slash to cut Nazir's nails. While he instantly went to Bella's direction, Nazir shot one more time in Sirus' back, thinking that he was dumbing from turning back on her. But in the middle of the way he turned and faced the attack head-on again. Bella was there sitting in a very comfy and relaxing position. Just the shockwave was enough to break her armor, exposing you-know-what. Sirus' strength that was exposed and became clear to everyone. Even Nazir was losing her patience with how hard it was to kill that boy. But that's when she notices that the ritual was in need of more firewood to keep going, or she would lose her 100 years of work. But Bella suddenly was feeling strange, saying her body was feeling hot, and I'm also feeling some extra warmth. Damn Bella. She lost her ability to control herself, and enveloped her hands around Sirus' head. Panting in need of some more oxygen, she pulls Sirus closer while from behind Tyr was shocked. We see she opening her mouth and the point of a cup that is about to be swallowed, slowly getting closer. But Sirus remembers the first he saw her, when she looked like a Luke Smaxer with a mewing jawline. He jumps back, saying that he doesn't want to do that, while Tyr asks what she's doing. Bella regained her consciousness, asking herself why I was trying to kiss Sirus. Even my tongue was up my mouth and I didn't notice. Even worse, we are in the middle of a battle. She was shy and embarrassed, trying to hide herself, while Tyr was asking if she was poisoned because she was red and panting, and also she's not the type of girl that acts this way. At that moment, Nazir opened her arms to bring some meat of the monsters to use as fuel for the ritual. Sirus noticed that she was burning all of the blood of the demon god. He knew that he needed to stop that quickly. He had a plan. He would utilize all of his power in an explosive attack, but for that he needed Bella. He went to her and said, I've figured out a way to defeat the boss now, but I need your cooperation. She was shy and Tyr knew that something bad was coming. Bold and courageous as a soldier that fights for the good of all humanity, Sirus told her that they need to connect their USB ports so he can charge his power to defeat the boss. While she was listening to Sirus explaining every single detail of the plan, she was getting more and more happy. While Tyr couldn't understand how Sirus could explain that plan with such a straight face, she was already on her side while Sirus was trying to comfort her, saying, I know it must be difficult for you, but I'd beg you. Her agitation value went up to 93%. But suddenly Tyr grabbed Sirus' hand, telling him to stop thinking about those things in the middle of the battle. He looked at Bella and said, don't trust him. With a happy face she told to Sirus that she trusted his words. Tyr was shocked. While Bella was saying that she knew that would be embarrassed, but only to kill the boss she would accept. It is incredible the determination of this duo, really going through thick and thin to save their species. She grabbed Sirus' head once more. All could remember was the younger and goblin Bella. While Sirus was going crazy, the poor Tyr took a critical hit. As some sort of memory reflex, Sirus pushed Bella away that now was in the floor confused. Suddenly Sirus gained 5,000 stats because he made Tyr suffer. Our boy literally gets much stronger when he makes a guy a cock. Through a beautiful angle we see Sirus telling Bella that her help wasn't needed anymore. He was feeling stronger, but she didn't want him to go, so she asked what if he still couldn't defeat the boss. With her crossed legs and 99% agitation she asked once more, don't you really need my help? Sirus bluntly told her, no. He went running while Bella was suffering on the floor with the rejection. While Tyr defeated was aching her, Bella, I know the Sirus is stronger than me and that's why you have a crush on him, but I want to ask. But before we see the answer we see Sirus going for Nazir. His plan is to hit leg and head at the same time and then finish everything in an instant. With 5,000 extra points, all he needs is find an opening. Nazir was looking at her cauldron, noticing that it was too cold. She needed for fuel. Maybe those humans would do. She started to fly and told Siri to be grateful because all of them would become sacrifices. She let her rounded mountains take fell some windy while conjuring her most powerful spell. The only thing Sirus thought is really big. The attack went head on and Sirus tried to block it, but his magic power used to resist was rapidly going down. After just a second he was depleted. Nazir told him that the battle was over, but that's when a beautiful hand surrounded his face. Turning his head he saw a blonde goddess, telling him that she knew that he needed her big helpers. Without hesitation Sirus became an alpinist and started to enjoy the mountains. But unfortunately for Tyr, his heart was broken. Bella knew that Tyr liked her, but she already had told him that she has had someone in her heart since childhood, and that never changed. While Sirus was climbing to new heights literally in all senses, his powers were surging and his stats increased by 27,500. His aura was destroying the whole room. Nazir couldn't believe what she was seeing. He should have no way to fight back now. But there he was, with his golden aura bursting. But even in that moment Nazir was feeling confident. She told him that no matter how much he increases his power, he was just a simple human being. She was about to say that he was nothing but an ant when he vanished in front of her. In a second a vertical cut went through her entire body. That was the strengthened swift body slash that broke Nazir's mask. And now Sirus' final move, the Holy Sword Descent, had been unlocked. Nazir was screaming to the heavens. How did he dare to hurt her face? She used all her powers to create a gigantic sun over her head with all her power infused. But Sirus was relentless. When she used her attack he used his sword descent. An enormous golden sword struck right above Nazir. The shockwave destroyed everything around, and when the dust settled the only thing left was Nazir's body in the same way that she came to this world. His divine attack was in cooldown for 20s and he ran for the demon blood, but the magic array wasn't destroyed. From the floor Nazir told him, I will never allow filthy humans to touch the demon god holy blood. Sirus was waiting for the cooldown and told her, I will take care of you in 9 seconds. That's when he looked back and saw Bella and Tyr dropped on the floor. Nazir stood up screaming that it was about time to see the superior race, monster or humans? But Sirus just ran to grab his friends. He was more worried to save them. While Nazir fell to the ground thinking that humans are truly foolish, Sirus was shouting to the system to find the shortest route out of there. But a creature was observing them from the side and appeared in front of him. Bella saw how much Sirus was fighting for her. She remembered that in their childhood everyone would make fun of her, but it was Sirus that always would stand up and punch anyone who tried to bully her. Sirus used once more his swift body slash to cut the monster, while Bella's mind was being filled with all the kindness that Sirus had shown her. But that's when Nazir made a critical move. she used herself as a sacrifice to the Demon King's blood. A dragon used a fire breath attack on Sirus, but he skillfully dodged and finished off another creature. While Nazir was being burned for the holy demon, then suddenly Sirus' weapon disappeared and the system told him, the enemy has been defeated and the weapon has returned to the system. After 12 hours the weapon will be back. Sirus thought that it didn't matter cause they've just reached the exit of the dungeon. Right at the entrance the captain, the ones that were able to survive, saw Sirus coming back. The captain lost his mind and shouted, "Sirus, how dare you defy my order and attempt to run? You are out of the expedition team and the guild is not going to help you anymore, and now I will execute you." But one instant and Sirus' foot was in his face. He couldn't care less about the captain, and just kept running with his friends. Back to the dungeon where Satyr was observing what was about to come out of the ritual. From a fountain of blood, two pale hands opened the red curtains. Satyr felt a chilling sensation as if her body was being stabbed by countless needles. The pale creature appeared, with red hair and a femboy body. It was the demon god Azathoth. Satyr tried to escape from the place as quickly as possible, but Azathoth noticed her, and with a flick of his finger destroyed everything in the way, revealing Satyr and making every creature of the whole dungeon fall to the lowest floor. All the monster asked if that was Nazir, but Azathoth just said that Nazir was dead and he needed a new servant now. Instantly a bunch of goblins fell to their knees began to serve him, but Azathoth said ugly and killed everyone. He wanted something beautiful at his side, so he went to Satyr and told her that she looked good and asked her to raise her head while opening her mouth. Hesitant and with tears in her eyes she did. Azathoth poured some green blood on her mouth. Satyr instantly felt that her body was being healed and happiness was flowing. Azathoth grabbed her by the chin, explaining that his blood could heal and fortify her immune system, but the digestion process caused some overflowing happiness. Then he told Satyr that it was getting dark. She should find a room and wait for him there. Then we see the guild headquarters where the captain is being cursed at for failing such an easy task. The golden arm guy is the S-ranked Aaron and is his brother. The captain was begging him, "Bro, help me. If I lose my position as captain we gonna lose everything and they will discover that we are stealing from the guild." His brother told him to shut up cause he already knew all of that. Then he asked, "What is the name of the guy that went against your orders?" The captain told him that it was Sirus. Darren told him that they would put all the blame on Sirus, and he would be sentenced to death for desertion. Back to Satyr, she was feeling something soft and juicy touching her back. A warm breath made her ears red. When she got up and looked back she saw a white-haired girl with Pixar mom proportions. Is Azathoth. That explained that in the night she loses her strength and goes back to her original girl form. In that time she needs Satyr to protect her from anyone that tries to cause harm, and she should never think about hurting her cause. With her blood inside Satyr she can easily dissolve Satyr body. While this was happening, Sirus was running around searching for where the demon god blood went. He wasn't going to give up even if he had to scour every corner of that place. He had already left Bella and Tyr in the hospital. Azathoth explained that she needed her heart that was within the Heroes Guild. Even though at night she becomes a weak human, when the day comes she's going to retrieve her heart and recover 100% of her powers. That's when Satyr heard something. Someone was approaching. She told Azathoth that she was going to stop whoever was, but Azathoth told her that if she got more than 5 kilometers from her she would be instantly killed. Sirus was running for a door. He knew that it must be their cause. He had already searched every place, and the system told him that the blood was present in the dungeon. What he wasn't expecting was that Satyr with her skillful foot was about to kick him once more. She went for a vertical overhead attack, but she noticed that it was Sirus. She stopped saying, "It's you, the disgusting human being again." But strangely inside the room Azathoth felt immense comfort. That was the reaction that she should have when finding her heart. She was confused. Satyr told Sirus that Nazir was already dead, so he came back. He should hurry and leave the place. But Sirus told her that he was happy that recovered herself and could fight again. Maybe the mushrooms that he gave her were helpful. Satyr got shy and red, telling him that wasn't the case at all. Those mushrooms were the most disgusting thing that she has eaten in her whole life, and he should get lost. But her agitation instantly went to 71%. Bounty Sirus pointed to her, saying that he knew that she had some favorability towards him. Satyr vanished and tried to kick Sirus' face that was able to dodge. She was trying to step him once more. Out of shy she closed her eyes and kept stomping the poor boy, saying that he was disgusting. But when she opened her eyes he wasn't there. Sirus was running to Azathoth's room. In front of the door he could feel the presence of the blood of the demon god behind. But before he was able to do anything Azathoth suddenly opened the door. But he was running fast and wasn't able to stop his body. The only thing that could stop his advancement was a warm snowball. Sirus retracted while Satyr asked who Azathoth came out of the room. Without hesitation, Azathoth grabbed Sirus' spheres. While Sirus was screaming in pain, Azathoth could feel that her heart was inside his future family nest. Sirus freed himself, asking her what she was doing, but the system told him that she was the blood of the demon god. Sirus was asking himself, did my antidote become a human? He made a small cut in her hands to drink some demon wine. Azathoth felt something strange, but the system told Sirus that his curse hadn't been cured. Azathoth was smiling at his face. She knew what he wanted, but at night when she's a human her blood is ineffective. Satyr tried to kick Sirus, telling him to get off her master. Sirus went back while Azathoth was thinking, my heart was actually absorbed by a human and was transformed into his essence. I need to regain my power back, even if it's forcibly. I will absorb it back to my body. But unfortunately, after all that fun, she's going to melt Sirus' body using her power. While Sirus is thinking that he needs to take other liquids from her to see which one has the correct effect. He tries to go for her when suddenly the floor under him breaks. He dodges the sneak attack, and from the floor another cool friend appeared. She had an arachne body carrying 8 limbs and 3 balloons. With a happy face she said that she could felt Azathoth power from thousands of miles, and she was even carrying the bell she was bestowed upon long ago. She is the boss Ghana. She runs towards Azathoth, saying that she had already proven her love and now is time for her to devour Azathoth. Azathoth, as a weak human, just waited. She couldn't do anything, but suddenly Sirus grabbed her, evading Ghana's attack, and jumped out of a hole in the wall. He was confused with why a boss rank monster appeared so suddenly, but his priority is to save his drinks that were inside Azathoth. But Ghana of course went to follow them. After some time, Siri put Azathoth on the floor, saying that he was finally able to lose that monster. Azathoth asked him where he had brought her. He told her that she was inside the Heroes Guild zone, in his home. Azathoth was happy upon hearing that. Now she can recover her heart and go right into a killing spree. So she grabbed Sirus' neck, pulling him closer and saying, dear hero, I've been cursed by a terrifying monster. If I don't find a man to release myself, I will soon die. So please help me. I need you to save me right now. With blood in his nose, Sirus told her, I'm a noble and upright hero. I will leave a like in this video cause we ran out of chapters, and turn on the bell cause when this series gets new chapters. Mamoru is going to release a second part.
Do you guys remember that last episode finished with Azathoth trying to do some squeaky slimy things? The hero's face says it's going to be tough. He insists he's noble, a righteous hero who can't exploit others' vulnerabilities. But she's already floored him, claiming her whole body hurts and she needs saving. Sirus is on the ground, fearing the embarrassment of this situation. He's an honest man with a pure heart, unable to take advantage of others. Yet his sense of duty as a man tells him when someone asks for help, he must save them from suffering. He can't stand idly by, he must act, sacrificing everything he holds dear and endure the pain and suffering alone. Meanwhile, Azathoth threatens to eradicate all future generations of him and then kill him. But at that moment, Sirus notices something odd. She has a tail, but why is it in front? Suddenly it clicks. She has elephant member hanging. He slams her against the wall, demanding an explanation for this bizarre feature. Yug collapses beside him and he keeps asking why she has it. Azathoth interjects, insisting she desperately needs help. He promised to save her. However, as dawn breaks, her body begins to change again. He can't back out now. Yug emites a glowing aura beside them and suddenly grows enormous, declaring she's starving. She begs the boy for help, and Sirus informs Azathoth that since he found Yug first, he'll help her first and then her. With that, he dashes off. As he cooks, he ponders, if he doesn't help, he'll die. But should he help? Is he losing his mind? Azathoth appears behind him, impatient to reclaim her power immediately. If he refuses, she'll make him want it. Sirus, abandoning his frying pan, rushes to save Yug, finishing his meal. Azathoth grows angry, powerless to suppress him right now. Meanwhile, Sirus notices a little tail. When he checks on Yug, she's drinking cleaning products, claiming it tastes wonderful. Now that Yug's eating, Azathoth insists they deal with her problem. Sirus suggests waiting, but Azathoth hurls him against the wall. Suddenly, the weapon's cooldown ends and he transforms. Azathoth is taken aback and the system commands him to wear only a piece of cloth, go outside, and greet 33 people. Confused, he complies. A massive golden door appears, warning that failure means joining those monsters on a party. Sirus worries the cloth is too short. No matter how he wears it, he'll expose himself. He orders both girls to stay in the room and rushes out. Yuji marvels at his disguise, while Azathoth insists they wait until morning. Humble Yug offers a sip of bleach, but Azathoth declines. Sirus decides to cover his face, at least then no one will know he's the crazy one. As he heads to town, Ganna senses their presence despite their escape. Sirus rushes through the city, feeling like a mad pervert, that he must greet 33 people. Everyone chases him. Meanwhile, Zader approaches the spherical room fuller than the Milky Way. Yug hides nearby. Zader urges Azathoth to flee, warning it's a human's trap zone. But Azathoth argues it's nearly dawn and there's no need to hide. Once her power is returned, she'll drain the boy dry and gain the strength to destroy the place, instructing Zader to fetch him. As Zader races through the city, she knows, after she hands the boy over to Azathoth, she'll drain everything from him and turn him into a blood pool. Then she stops on the roof, sees a bunch of people chasing someone. When she looks, it's our guy greeting everyone. He's already greeted 24 of the 33, and there are 4 minutes left. But suddenly, a monster appears in the middle of the city. When he looks back, what the heck, it turned into a dungeon. He tells the system to activate for him to have the extra attributes. However, the system notifies him that as long as he has a mission, he'll be a powerless F rank. The guild starts announcing there's a monster in the city and some hunters will help. A guy's holding the monster and asks for a weapon. Our guy passes by and gives him a slap, saying thanks for being my buddy. Suddenly, a knight appears and saves him. It's the leader of the A-class security group Kajak, who says it's ridiculous they can't deal with such weak creatures. Meanwhile, the vice president of the Brave Guild is asking for an escort. But right behind them, Ganna's coming like a madwoman, saying she can smell them. The knights turn and jump to protect. Suddenly, this Kajak guy comes to swing a sword at her head, but she arrogantly and gracefully dodges. She asks if he wants to get so close, and with a touch on the sword, his whole arm is cursed. He falls to the ground, warning no one to touch her. While Ganna says they're too fragile to deal with just this. Seeing him standing in front, she says it's ridiculous for trying to block her. Meanwhile, our guy has greeted 32 people, only 1 left. The president sees everyone being destroyed while Ganna says the way they scream in agony is amazing. She finishes off another and heads towards the president, saying she wants to hear 1 more scream. The president screams for help when our protagonist turns and sees them. Now that he's greeted 1 more, the mission is complete. The armor and everything are back. He tells the system to activate and draws a card. What he receives is the Divine Silencing Finger. Basically, he can touch his enemy's body from far away. And if the enemies scream in a cute, warm way, it'll increase the silencing power bar that caused damage. Ganna recognizes him immediately and goes on the attack. Up there, she says once she's done with him, she'll hunt Azathoth in broad daylight. Our hero activates the power and dodges retreating. As soon as the little hand activates, she feels as if someone touched her body. The value rises to 12%, and the silencing power is activated. She screams in extreme agony, and the power explodes, crushing her on the ground. She can't understand why it feels like he caressed the mountains. And as soon as she screamed, it feels like an invisible force hit her. Although not fatal, it's all very painful. Sirus' face as she says his power is disgusting. Actually, the scream she accidentally lets out isn't just any scream, right? It's a high-pitched scream, let's say, the famous corn scream. But she warns that her body belongs only to the Azathoth and anyone who touched her deserves death, and she'll never release that high-pitched scream again. The system warns that the power of the scream is related to the power of agitation. Heading in his direction, she warns she'll finish him off and take his dead body to Lord Azathoth. She goes on the attack, telling him to die in agony. But Sirus crouches. She comes at him with her big hand. Oh, he dodges while doing some caressing, and now she felt a little extra power. She lets out another loud scream and ends up suppressed on the ground. Our hero says his hand feels like it touched the armpits. While Ganna complains to her mouth, saying she doesn't understand what's happening, why is she screaming like this? But she says that for a second, the little scratch he gave her spun the same happiness she thought only the Azathoth would be capable of. Humans have truly evolved. She starts hitting herself on the head, saying she woke up, Azathoth will forgive her, right? While Sirus is thinking she's crazy, she's beating herself up, already lying on the ground and beaten up. She tells Sirus that his blows are weird, but now she's going to fight seriously and draws a sword. That sword came from a peculiar place for a spider, but it's really slimy slick, not suggesting anything. And Sirus notices this. He says first it was on the mountains, then in the armpits, what will be next? Maybe on the back. But no time, because she's already coming at him and he's fleeing. She comes from behind him, warning it's too late, and she's ready to finish him off. But he sneaks a glance sideways and manages to dodge. He warns that he's more agile than her and she can't catch him. But she says she already knew and he fell into the trap. He got a spider's tangle and is already stuck to the wall. He tries to free himself, but it's not working. And she approaches, saying now he can't escape, draws the sword, and orders him to die. Our guy manages to at least release the damned hand and caresses her thigh. She knows she's going to unleash the infamous scream, so she covers her mouth to prevent it. She gradually releases her hands and says she's finally holding back. As long as she doesn't release the heaven's melody, she won't be attacked. But when she looks, he's already freed himself and is on her back, saying she won't run away. She says he's stupid, and she's figured out perfectly how his attack works, and that was his only chance to escape. All that will be left now is his unilateral death in this fight. She then seals her own mouth with a spider's web. As long as she doesn't make any weird sounds, his attack will be invalidated. Sirus says he knows very well that his last attack hit her in the middle of the thigh. Ganna thinks he's gross for paying attention to that. Sirus says he's ready. Now that he started exploring the body's proportions, there's no way he can lose. From this moment on, he'll dominate this battlefield because he'll attack the most accurate points of her body. She goes on the offensive, saying it doesn't matter where he touches. Now that she's covered her mouth, he can't win. She won't make any sound and he'll be defeated. Sirus from the middle of the alley gives 2 hand squeezes. She feels something somewhere but says she won't scream. He looks and says she's amazing for not reacting, while she says it's getting strange. Before it seemed like it was outside, but now it's inside. She's agonizing, saying she's holding on very well. She just hopes Lord Azatoth sees how much she's managing to resist. She's not attracting him. This level of joy isn't comparable. She comes at him again, but now Sirus is learning to use the little hand. He makes 2 strides on the wall and a cut in the middle, and then she can't. She says that one touched a place that she didn't know she had. Meanwhile, the president of the Brave Guild is watching everything, saying that monstrous woman is writhing all over. He doesn't know what kind of magic this is, but with those screams, he wants to learn it. Ganna is already falling to the ground, still not understanding how he's doing this. And now, unfortunately, she's already surpassed Azatoth, who is fading from her mind. No, she gets her hand again, saying that won't happen. She'll stop this. She won't think these things anymore. She just needs to calm down. Seeing this, Sirus says she really didn't make any sound. It seems it wasn't enough. She touches the sword and starts injecting her toxins into the blade. She comes at him again, and this time she ensures she won't be defeated. But Sirus runs his hand on the wall, and she falls to the ground, saying she can't. It's impossible to take a step forward with all this happening. She has to kill him quickly, or Lord Azatoth will disappear from her heart. She sends the blade his way. Sirus manages to dodge, but suddenly she activates a power that explodes the blade on his back. And the entire corridor becomes poisoned. Seeing everything destroyed, she's sure he wouldn't be able to escape from such a close strike. Now his whole body is poisoned, and he's going to die. But Sirus is up on the building, saying the same trick doesn't work twice on him. She's incredulous that he thought of escaping in this situation, and he warns that now it's his turn. He jumps into the middle of the walls and slides down, dragging his hand on everything. Then it's over for her. She even says, "Here we go again." He keeps sliding and she keeps slipping, pleading for him to stop descending, and it feels like forever. He's descending so slowly. Now even the web blocking her mouth starts to give way. It opens and lets out a huge scream. The gift from Azatoth explodes. The whole place turns into an atomic bomb, and she's being consumed. Our guy just gaining power. After everything settles, she turns into a spider. With that, the enemy is defeated, and the weapon returns to the system. Our guy goes over there and picks up another one. Favorability is already at 100%, and he unlocked the Conqueror passive. After defeating a boss, he receives their exclusive abilities, and now he can poison his own weapon. But suddenly, Azatoth appears behind him and says that she got him. Meanwhile, in another place, Zader is pouring her blood on the floor, and at home, Azatoth vanished in front of Yug. The portal appeared in front of Zader, from which Azatoth came out asking where was the human. Zader got on her knees and told Azatoth that she unfortunately lost track of him. With a demonic face, Azatoth explained that Sirus' system was her lost power, and if she doesn't recover it before night, she will become once again a powerless human. That's when the explosion happened in the middle of the city, and Azatoth felt the energy of the system. She instantly rushed, leaving Zader behind, who didn't know how to respond. At that moment, Sirus was using his new ability that made possible to send Monster back to their home, while Yug was getting drunker and bigger at home. Suddenly, a small spider appeared in front of her. Of course, it was Ganna's body. And then Azatoth appeared behind Sirus. He tried to lock back and react fast, but Azatoth was saying that she would have to use some tough measures and went to devour him. Sirus got scared. He flinched back, telling her to not do those things while she was with female clothes her body had clearly already changed. But with puppy eyes, she told him that he was very sweet. He tried to escape, but she easily stopped him with a red aura using her hands. She got closer, saying that she had mastered the system long ago. and told him to use the system to lock her up and boost his attributes. That would be fun for both. But Sirus told her that he would never use his system on someone that had a man's body. That was his bottom line. She then used a magic power to bring him closer, making an offer with her antidote blood for some different kind of joy and fun. Sirus is a man of integrity. He shouted at her, saying that if this was the only solution for him, he would prefer to let his body melt and decay. She kept insisting, saying he dared to resist her, but Sirus kept shouting that he would never do that with a bro. Suddenly, she made a light orb and told him that he needed to be disciplined, so she would make him beg for it. She touched his back, saying that her power's system heart could now return to her body, but strangely, the light orb vanished. She was confused with that, and the system refused to return, and told her that all attacks against Sirus would be useless. Then the system asked Sirus if he would trade 50% of his life for a chance to kill Azathoth. In that situation, Sirus didn't hesitate for a second and accepted. He'd receive a notification saying that when he locks on Azathoth, he would trigger the Spear of Oblivion. After Azathoth will be fully absorbed by the host and the poison detoxified, but he had a 50-day time countdown. Azathoth couldn't believe that the system not only rejected her, but was also helping Sirus to finish her off. Sirus looked back to use his power to lock on Azathoth, but suddenly a carmescent explosion filled the whole place. He couldn't open his eyes, so it was impossible to lock the system. Suddenly, Azathoth made a cut on her own hand. The same cut appeared on Xader's, who got confused, and thick she already was. Her blood touched the floor, and the same portal appeared once more behind her. Azathoth came out of it sweating and saying that she almost lost her life, and the worst part is that she knows that the system locked her location. In a minimap, Sirus could find where she was and was impressed that she moved so fast in a short period. Xader asked what had happened and if she was injured. Azathoth explained that no one could harm her right now because any damage would be transferred first to Xader. She asked if Azathoth took care of the human, and she responded that she couldn't, while asking if Xader was happy that the human had not died. She denied and said that since she couldn't hurt him, they should just go back to the dungeon. But suddenly, Azathoth smiled, saying that she's been with the system for thousands of years, so she knows very well she can't physically harm Sirus, but she can make him die out of joy. Azathoth was sure that as soon as Sirus died, the system would return to her, since it was hard to find a new host. Then she told Xader to go find the human this night again. She then made Xader transform her body in a heavy truck specialized in carrying giant circles, and then asked for a different appearance, while she said that would have to rely on Xader to keep the transformation on all night long. She became the most mid-girl in this series, but said that heroes love to save a beauty, so she would let him play the hero once and then find an opportunity to make things happen. Xader asked if it was really possible to kill with excessive joy, for which Azathoth responded that for her it was, and that's how she got killed, and even ended up abandoned by the system. She hit the tree angrily, saying that she couldn't understand what the system saw in Sirus, while Sirus was thinking about those 50 days left of life and the risk that he took. He knew that he needed to hurry, but suddenly felt a pain in his body. The poison was acting up again. He felt something on his feet and was unable to move it. The purple poison was consuming his little toe, and he fell to the floor in agony. His vision kept blurring, and from the side, the president from Brave saw him losing his consciousness. Sometime later, he opened his eyes and saw a doctor. They went running to inform the Lord. Sirus asked why he was in the hospital, and who brought him there, to which the doctor explained that it was the vice president from the Adventurers Guild. Sometime later, Sirus was explaining that his magic was very difficult to learn, so he didn't know if it was possible. But enthusiastically, the president shouted that he would give his best to learn everything that he could, even if that cost his own life. With a serious expression, Sirus explained that his powers starts in the fingertips. Suddenly, the president kneeled and begged him to Sirus to be his master, while Sirus told him to get up. The president apologized, and Sirus said that as his master he understood how he felt. But another blessed babe was knocking on the door, telling the president Charlton that she had something to report. Her name was Daisy. Sirus saw warrant of death for desertion. Daisy explained the accusations of abandoning the part and disobeying the orders of a captain, but the president said that this was tricky, but he would try to find a way to handle it. Sirus told him that this was not needed, since he didn't ran away and even took care of the boss Nay. Jesus, thank you, Lord. Daisy said that it was impossible for an F rank with a C rank Bella and B rank Tur to defeat an S boss Nay. Sirus told her that she could send someone to see the dungeon, for which she responded was already done, and she knew it was empty, but he would detain to prevent any escape problems. Charlton interrupted her and said that it was no needed, cause he believed on the boy, which made Big Daisy incredulous. The president said that he would carry the responsibility of supervising him, but Daisy reminded that he needed to attend to banquet tonight. Charlton said that if that's the case, Sirus should just go with him, and Daisy couldn't find a way to deny it. And with that, they left the room. Sirus decided to take a look on where Azathoth was to make some plannings. He got surprised when saw that Azathoth was really close to him. But then he noticed that Azathoth was actually at his home while he was in the hospital. He got up to ran from the hospital. Next moment, he was opening the door on his home. He looked inside but saw nothing at first glance. Ganna was on the floor, exhausted. Sirus checked every room but couldn't find Yo. Poor boy was sure that his thickest Pokemon was captured. In another place, Yo was opening her eyes slowly. She was chained, and at her side was Azathoth, transformed but also locked. Her feet were being held by a huge circle, but she already carries 4 other ones, so I think she will just get up and leave. She asked where she was, for which Azathoth responded that was the auction venue for monsters and humans that don't leave like in the video to help Mamoru make. And you all remember that the last chapter, Yub was slowly opening her eyes. She was bound to the ground, and Azathoth was beside her, also restrained. She asked where she was, to which Azathoth replied that they were at an auction for creatures and humans. Meanwhile, Sirus was seeing her location on a map. He was getting closer and noticed that she hadn't moved for an hour. Suddenly, she disappeared, making it impossible to track her at night. Out of nowhere, a guy from the city appeared and struck him with an axe. Sirus stepped back, barely dodging. He slid backward, asking who that guy was. The guy said that this was the territory of the Stellar Cavalry, and no one could pass through there. Sirus knew these guys were bandits making a living by kidnapping. They were surrounded from all directions, and the men were talking about capturing certain monsters. Others said they were lucky to have captured so many people today and should take the boy for interrogation too. Sirus guessed they were the ones who had taken Yug, and this was the perfect chance to ask if they had seen a monster man around. The system then warned that the weapon return mission would start in 2 minutes. Sirus knew that once this happened, he would revert to the status of an F rank. Meanwhile, in the prison, the smallest girl in the world was struggling to free herself from the magical shackles. She needed the master's nutrition to keep her strength up. Azathoth beside her asked why she didn't return to a dungeon if she was a monster. Yum replied that her race, the Liang Caterpillars, always depended on the energy of men to get stronger. That's why she always chose the strongest guy. Suddenly, the entire cave exploded, and one of the guys outside was thrown against the wall. Someone obviously re-entered. It was Sirus, celebrating that he managed to resolve everything in 2 minutes. At that moment, he received a mission to hit a drum 10 times until it made sounds. He had 60 minutes when the weapon would return. He ran and grabbed the guy he had punched, but he had already fainted. From the ground, the fake Azathoth was screaming, asking to be saved. Sirus knew this part of the city was dangerous, so his first objective was to complete the mission. He ran to Yug and turned the lock. With that, the monster fell to the ground, and he seriously called out to her. He apologized and made the first precise strike. She let out a slight sound. With a face of pain and suffering, she asked what he was doing. The mission now stood at 1 out of 10. He turned to the girl on the ground and said that for the sake of everyone, she too would have to take a little slap. Azathoth was already sure that he wasn't the type of man who could control himself, so dealing with him would be easy. She found it ridiculous that he invented something so idiotic just to take advantage of her. With that, she lifted her foot, asking for help and saying she didn't mind doing whatever he wanted. Sirus just went to her ankle and released the shackle. In a second, she threw herself, hugging him and saying she was terrified because she had been kidnapped. She delivered a cruel blow to our boy, saying she was afraid of being sold to the goblins. But Sirus had no time for conversations and stretched out his hand. Once again, the strike was delivered without any hesitation. Unfortunately, she didn't make any sound. Sirus asked why she wasn't saying anything. She said he didn't need to worry and should just keep insisting a little more. Our boy realized he was in trouble. The system warned that when he slapped and there was no sound, he would be frozen for 5 minutes. With that, he felt like an idiot. Yub got up, calling for her master. She apologized to him, saying she was feeling very weak and needed some essence. This was the only way. Otherwise, she would collapse and die. Sirus wasn't responding. She said that if that was the case, she would take it as a yes. At that moment, she started sucking the boy's blood. Azathoth called her shameless and told her to let him go. But Azathoth was weakened, so Yug easily immobilized her, explaining that Sirus was her master. She said she got everything he had. Azathoth was trying to break free, but in that situation, she couldn't win. She realized she had no chance and just stayed aside, watching. Gradually, she moved closer when she saw an opportunity. She whispered to Sirus, inviting him to a threesome adventure. He began to question whether she was really restrained against her will and why she was offering something like that. Meanwhile, Statter was watching everything and could feel the same feelings as Azathoth. It became very clear to her what the chief's desires were. Azathoth took Sirus' hand and said it had been a long time since she had done something like this. With that, poor Statter stood by, suffering. As always, she was struck with much cruelty. Azathoth kept manipulating our boy's hand to deliver cruel blows. And poor Satyr was suffering indirectly since she wasn't involved in anything. The little hand was just on the attack. Azathoth knew that now her plan was advancing. Sirus, on the other hand, was trying to resist, telling her not to do that. However, she guided Sirus' hand to something strange. He felt something odd touching him and knew it was Azathoth again. Suddenly, she noticed that the expression in his eyes had changed. She thought it was a matter of technique and decided to change her style of attack. However, she was pushed back and realized she had been exposed. She called for Segir, who immediately exploded the wall beside them. Yug hadn't recovered yet, so she ended her transformation at that moment. She became tiny and asked Sirus for help. In the smoke, Azathoth admitted she had been exposed and asked Satyr to flee with her. It was a good chance for Sirus to finish her off, but he was still without the system. When the system's freezing finally passed, she had already left, and all that was left for him was to recover his powers. He realized how Azathoth wanted to end him and decided to be more careful when women approached him at night. Meanwhile, 51 minutes had passed on the system, and the mission was at 1 out of 10. Back at the gate of Area Z, as soon as Sirus came out of that place, a lot of people were waiting for him. The first leader of that group came forward with a poster saying that Sirus would have to die. However, someone ran up to him. The president's secretary stepped in front, saying that the president had given the order that the boy was free. They couldn't capture Sirus because he was registered to attend the guild's banquet that night. However, the guy slapped her, saying he knew it was a lie and he would only believe it if the president himself said so. If she kept insisting, she would also be thrown into the interrogation room. Sirus told her to bring the president's letter, and she said she could get it in 10 minutes. Sirus told her not to worry because the guy would regret hitting her. The scene shifted to a room where Sirus was tied to a table. The former leader questioned if Sirus remembered that it was he who had done this to his arm. They barely escaped alive from that fight against Ney, but Sirus easily survived. He pounded the table, saying that a coward like him didn't deserve to live. Sirus replied that a coward who flees from a fight against an enemy indeed deserves to die like an animal. The guy knew it was here who caused this disaster and was seething with rage. With that, Sirus turned to the ally and ordered him to bring the hammer. Unfortunately, the secretary hadn't returned yet, and Sirus would have to rely on his physical strength to resist. However, from his pocket, Yug warned that it was impossible for him to be hurt because she had absorbed the blood and would strengthen his body. But when they got home, he would have to pay the price. Our boy already knew it was going to be a crazy request. As a hammer swung in his direction, the guy said he was joking and asked Sirus to choose which finger he wanted to lose first. But before he could do anything, a man opened the door and said they had brought a message from the president. He saw the poster stating that the accusations against Sirus were false. The guy got angry, realizing that the damn secretary was indeed from the president. One of them announced that they would have to release the boy since continuing would now be illegal. However, he just pushed him back, saying to bring that poster in half an hour. Sirus didn't like hearing that. The man warned that now Sirus would have to pay the price. Outside, the guy said the president wasn't answering the door, so unfortunately, they couldn't deliver the order. At that moment, the guy gave the first hammer blow. However, the hammer started to crack while Sirus' hand remained intact. There wasn't even a scratch thanks to Yug's aura. The captain was confused, wondering how this was possible. While the man outside tried to stop the secretary, someone appeared. Both looked back and were startled. The president arrived, kicking the door open. The guy, all crooked, asked why Carlton was there. He showed the poster and ordered them to release Sirus. The guy dropped the hammer on the floor, scared. With that, our boy simply broke the shackles. The president announced that he disobeyed the order and would lose his position as captain. Trembling, he said he didn't receive the order in time and that all group members could confirm it. However, no one spoke up since they knew the president would find out anyway. Carlton said it seemed no one wanted to defend him. Suddenly, Sirus spoke, confirming that he hadn't seen the guy receive the revocation order. He said the guy didn't need to worry about imprisoning him, but he would have to kneel and apologize to the secretary. She stood there, not understanding why Sirus was doing this. His mission was still 1 out of 10, and he had 1 minute left to complete it. With that, all the guys leaned in to apologize to her. Sirus said they were horrible for mistreating such a wonderful secretary. While the guy was being beaten, she stood there blushing, not understanding why Sirus was going so far for her. The men apologized, saying they would never do something like that again, while she just smiled. With that, our boy made 10 people let out a little moan and the mission was completed. Sirus turned to the captain and said the mission with the secretary was complete. He grabbed the guy's arm and said they would have to settle things between them now. Sirus simply said this was for hitting his hand. He started twisting the guy's arm, who desperately apologized. He begged Sirus not to do it again. However, our boy broke his second arm. Once again, the poor guy was left all twisted. At that moment, Sirus left the room, saying he was now forgiven. Carlton said Daisy would take him to the banquet because the president had to meet someone from the church. Sirus was confused about who these important people were. The man spoke about some nuns who could eliminate any type of toxins, but to understand them, you couldn't have any evil thoughts. The scene shifted to the banquet hall. The Holy See sect was arriving and people were impressed. However, everyone commented that they thought it was a bit inappropriate for her to dress like that. She suddenly stopped and stared at everyone, making them feel awkward. She said her mission was to eliminate any evil thoughts from this world, which was why she needed to dress like that. She ordered them to stop looking at her with those disgusting eyes. Immediately, the president called the guards and told them to punish those men for disrespecting the saint. However, she said it wasn't necessary. If they were to punish those men for that, everyone there would suffer the same fate, except for the vice president. He was confused, asking how he was different from the others. She said his mind was in torment, but his body didn't seem to react. The president thought it was some kind of compliment, saying he had good self-control. But everyone knew it only meant he was impotent. Other people approached the banquet entrance. It was Sirus with Daisy who had arrived. He asked if that holy purification magic was strong, and she said it was extremely unique. From severed limbs to any type of disease, she had seen it cure even extremely severe poisonings. Since heroes always get injured, the Hunters Association needed to ally with the church to get these cures. The guild had tried to put another hero in this position, but they were all rejected. This was because the saints didn't like using their powers on others for one simple reason. People couldn't have improper thoughts. Sirus thought that if this person could fix his finger, it would be perfect. With that, she swiped the verification card and they both entered the event. At the door, Sirus saw a commotion and asked what was happening. At this moment, Carlton appeared and said that she was looking for people to collaborate with the Holy See. If someone could pass this test, Zoanzi would gain a lot of strength. The saint presented a curtain and said that it was the veil of the Sacred Heart. When they entered, the levels of impure thoughts would be shown on that gem. The collaboration with them would depend on the purity of the heart. However, she warned that no other guild from other regions had managed to pass it. Outside, people wanted to know how purity would be measured and what was inside. The saint just said that if they wanted to test it, they could enter. A muscular man said he would show that he had never done anything shameful in his life. He was the captain of Team 7 and ranked number 9 in that city. He entered while the saint smiled. As soon as he was inside, he encountered something peculiar. There was something dangerous waiting for him. It was a cat girl who somehow reminded him of Yug. Logan knew that she was his weakness. In a second, he thought that place was magnificent. The cat girl threw herself at him. He was embarrassed by her initiative. She meowed, and the boy almost fainted from lack of blood. He said she was magnificent and asked if he could pet her. She questioned if he already wanted to start. He said yes, this place was too good, and he didn't want to leave. Her expression changed, and she said he was disgusting. The poor guy was thrown out of the curtain. He sprawled on the ground, and no one knew what happened. His impure thoughts had reached 88%. Clearly, a person of an impure heart. The people outside said that whatever was in there was extremely dangerous. However, the captain of Team 6 said he would finish off whatever it was. But he was also kicked out, bleeding. He fell, all happy, saying he had indeed seen something dangerous inside. 92% impurity, and everyone was curious. He said it was the weakness of men and advised not to even try to beat it. Several continued to go in, all with impurity levels above 90%, until someone approached. It was Sirus, who said it was his turn now. The saint saw him enter and thought he was the last loser. However, as soon as our boy entered, he was surprised. Before he could react, he had been taken on an exploration in the mountains, and the girl was squeezing him tightly. She asked if he wasn't interested in doing a certain thing. Suddenly, she was met with a hand to the face. Sirus threw the cat girl away. He questioned why so many women were approaching him provocatively. Now he was going to be more cautious. There was a good chance it was Azathoth once again. The cat girl was confused. It was the first time she had been rejected so aggressively. Outside, the saint was shocked. It was the first time she had seen a 0% impurity level. Truly, he had a mind as calm as water. Sirus was thinking that before he continued, he needed to confirm the identity of that person. The girl stood there, unsure of how to react. He then initiated the system, which asked if he wanted to activate it on the person in front of him. The problem was that he only had one use of the Spear of Forgetfulness. If he wasted it and faced Azathoth again, he would be done for. The girl still hadn't recovered. It was the first time she had not only been rejected, but also thrown far away. And the worst part was that he seemed to be looking at her intently, yet there wasn't a trace of a corruptive thought. Sirus was sharp, wanting to stay alert to any movement. Now she was angry, saying that he was worse than those who desired her, as it meant she wasn't capable of conquering what she wanted. However, she was determined to make his heart race somehow. Meanwhile, Sirus was interested in finding out if she had any masculine characteristics. She jumped towards him, asking for a hug and telling him to stop looking at her so intently. Sirus was more interested in checking if there was something between her legs. When she went to hug him, he vanished in front of her. Seeing him retreat meant she had been rejected once again. However, she didn't give up and jumped towards him again, telling him to stop being so shy. The problem was that Sirus had tripped during his escape and was now lying on the ground. She was certain that once he felt her softness, he wouldn't be able to resist. However, Sirus was actually looking for the perfect angle to see if there was something beneath. In a second, he made a quick movement, sliding to check if there was anything unusual. He observed as best as he could to find something out of place. Just a little more and he would be able to find the answer he was looking for. She found it strange because not only was he dodging, but at the same time he was staring at her aggressively. With that, he stopped sliding his hand. Once again, he was on the other side and she had fallen by herself. She couldn't understand why he was acting this way. Leaving, Sirus said that this mission was very difficult because he had to look in the right places. Meanwhile, the cat girl didn't understand. She stared at him and asked how he could look at her with such intensity. his body reacting, but at the same time have no impure thoughts. She screamed, demanding he explain himself. Sirus then said that he was a righteous person. He had no impure thoughts about her body. If he was in this world today, it was because, as a child, he was nurtured. It was such mountains that allowed him to grow strong and survive. He looked at her with a heart full of gratitude. She was confused, saying the light he emitted was too strong. Truly, from the beginning, she had no chance. The power difference between them was too great. She then lowered her head, saying he had passed the test and could leave this place. Sirus thought that if she was letting him go, in the end, she really wasn't Azathoth. With that, he withdrew, saying goodbye to her. Heroically, he appeared outside with a 0% impurity level intact. Meanwhile, she fell to the ground, saying she hadn't trained enough to defeat someone like him. Everyone outside was shocked, saying it was impossible that the cat girl hadn't done anything to him. The saint beside him commented that it was the first time she had seen someone with such a pure heart. He asked if she could now use purification to remove the poison from him. She said yes and ordered everyone to leave the area. A while later, only the two of them were in the middle of the hall. She sat in a chair and told him to lie down in front of her. He did, and she told him not to move, explaining that each saint could use her magic through certain parts of her body. Then she started to remove her sandal and warned that her magical powers came from stomping. Here comes another one wanting to mess with our boy. She warned that if he had any impure thoughts while she used her power, the effect wouldn't work. He asked if these impure thoughts only involved him. She explained that the day she became a saint, all her impure thoughts were removed. She told him not to move because she first had to examine his physique. It was the only way she could properly treat his body. With that, she began to feel his chakra points and energy flow. He noticed she seemed to be trying to manipulate his hand. He lifted her to try and help. However, she told him not to do anything when the magic wouldn't work. She apologized, saying that the chair was too small, and warned him that she would have to use him as support. She continued her meticulous analysis, focused on his fallen pinky toe, and said she would begin now. With that, she stepped on his hand. Suddenly, Sirus found himself in another place. He was in the middle of a void within a sea. Out of nowhere, a giant foot came to step on him. The poor guy tried to react but was being pushed down. He managed to resist and didn't drown, but his toe still wasn't healed. She told him not to fight against what was happening because it was part of the process. She was using magic to project his consciousness, and this way she would heal his pinky toe. Suddenly, he was clinging to her foot, and a dark energy was rising from the depths of the ocean. He said that strangely, his leg was being pulled by something odd. She explained that those were the poisons present in his body. She told him to hold onto her foot so she could pull him up. With that, he grabbed her big toe, trying to tear the stocking to get a better grip because he had no hold. She said he was very rude for doing something like that and surrounded him with her toes to try and lift him. The problem was that the poison was still in his body. Despite her seemingly using a lot of force, he felt no pain at all. Strangely, he felt comfortable and his toe seemed to be starting to heal. With that, part of his body was removed from the water. When she lifted her foot, his toe was regenerated. He woke up looking at his hand and saying that it was working. However, she warned that she still felt a strange energy and told him to remove his boots. She then performed another sequence of healing, approaching his pinky toe. The whole process of limb reconstruction was completed. She informed him that they would proceed with the difficult part. She had located the poison in his body and would try to remove it all at once. As we know, Azathoth's poison was in a dangerous area. She sent him to the bottom of the sea, saying that he would have to find the cord to then be pulled out. He said he was drowning in the middle of his consciousness, but she reassured him that in the end, everything would be fine. He realized he was receiving energy and his body seemed to be growing stronger. At the bottom of the sea, he located the source of the dark energy. Now with a golden glow, he approached. However, the saint felt strange. The favorability had started to count towards her. Once again, the evil energy was pulling Sirus deeper into that place. He alerted her to pull them back as he was being dragged down. She insisted that it was part of the process, but he kept asking to be saved. She assured him not to worry, as she would begin now. However, at that moment, she became a target of the system and felt her body acting strangely. Suddenly, the poison began to dissolve. She gave him a protective shield and told him to go to the bottom of the sea. He swam, destroying all the poison, and was impressed that it was working so well. Gradually, he managed to get closer to the bottom of the lake. The strange thing was that he kept swimming but seemed to make no progress. She explained that the way distance is perceived in consciousness is different from the real world. It appears close but is actually far. The problem for her was that she had to continue using her powers to keep him alive. Yet, something strange was happening to her and Sirus' shield began to crack. He shouted to her that everything was breaking and asked what was happening. The favorability was at 47% and she realized that her purification wasn't working properly due to emerging wrong thoughts. She told him to stop having impure thoughts about her or everything would fail. Down below, the shield was already being destroyed. Sirus couldn't react and was suffocating. She told herself she couldn't fail like this. It would be a disgrace for her. However, the favorability continued to rise. Unfortunately for Sirus, he was being devoured by the poison. Suddenly, he woke up back in the church. The saint was embarrassed, saying she needed to repair that shield. The favorability kept increasing. Strangely, when she stepped on the boy, she felt something odd. She wanted to keep stepping on him. Suddenly, Sirus called out her name, bringing her back to reality. She asked if he was awake and he said yes. The saint questioned herself about what had happened and why her heart was beating so fast. She knew this was the sensation of wrong thoughts, but it was impossible for her to feel something like that. If anyone ever found out, she would lose all her dignity. Sirus asked why she couldn't heal him. She replied that she could, but his treatment would need to be long-term. She took off her shoe, saying she needed to research more about the poison in his body. And she said he could visit her anytime and that her name was Lilia. She left, saying that was all for today, and waved goodbye. Sirus realized that the only way to truly purify himself was by defeating Azahath. Outside, the saint leaned against the wall. She told herself that she had almost lost control and didn't understand why. The problem was that the sensation had been incredible. The scene shifted to the captain being kicked by his brother. Skull found him and asked if he couldn't do something so simple. He apologized, saying it was the president, but his brother told him to shut up. He threw a paper on the ground and told him to look at it. He asked what it was, and his brother said it was the Shia dungeon, which he would not go to. The first captain said it was impossible because that dungeon was ranked Estes. However, his brother explained that the boss of that place was extremely injured, so it would be very easy. He had intercepted this information, so no one else knew about it. This was the perfect chance for him to regain his position as captain. Excited, he thanked his brother, saying that this time he would make it right. However, someone delivered blood to the boss. Obviously, it was Azathoth, who said that now that she had done this, he would be recovered. At that moment, the boss stood up, saying he felt stronger than ever. He looked at Azathoth and said she had saved him once again, so whatever she asked, he would do. Of course, Azathoth said that his mission was to kill a simple human. Looking at the map, Sirus saw that she had traveled very far. Back at the church, the president thanked Sirus, because now they could cooperate with the saint. He said Sirus could make any request he had. Sirus asked for the position of captain, so he could enter any dungeon he wanted, and the president agreed. Our boy said he would go back home and prepare since he would leave the city tomorrow. He only had 49 days left and couldn't waste time. The president apologized and said that the process to become a captain wasn't that fast. However, Daisy got involved and said she knew everything that needed to be done, so she would help him expedite the process. It was a kindness for everything Sirus was doing for her. A while later, Sirus was finally back home. As soon as he entered, a gigantic maid was waiting for him. It was Yug, who had finished cleaning the kitchen and was just waiting for him. She grabbed Sirus, saying she did it because she knew humans liked it, and told him to thank her. Our boy complimented her but asked her to let go of him a little. She turned to Sirus and said she was too useful and would stay with him forever. Sirus asked if she didn't want to go back home. She found that word strange and looked confused, saying that for a monster, there is no such thing as home. Our boy was silent for a second. He then said that it was okay, but she couldn't let anyone discover she was a monster. She thanked him, saying he didn't mean to worry and that she was very good at hiding. With that, the favorability was at 100%. Now that they were closer, the values had doubled. She placed her hand on his face, saying that now that she had done everything, it was her turn. He was confused, and she reminded him of the promise he made when he protected her hand. She said that he had promised to repay her double, and he agreed that he had indeed promised that. He knew that getting closer to her was a good thing since it would double all of his attributes. In this situation, it would both benefit. Meanwhile, Daisy was heading to his house, feeling a bit excited. Suddenly, a piece of cloth was torn. Yub remarked that he had a very well-developed body and warned that she would start devouring him with a bite. With that, the poor boy was tortured as his defense rose to 2400. His agility and attack power were also doubling. While his attributes increased, she was recovering magical power. Suddenly, she grabbed him by the spine, but then someone knocked on the door. Our boy was immobilized by the monster while Daisy was on the other side. Sirus turned to Yug and told her to go hide. She ran to the bedroom and he went to open the door. Excited, Daisy brought a lot of food and said she had completed the process he requested. He thanked her and she said she also brought some fruit for him. Our boy said that was great because he was running out of food. Meanwhile, Yub was listening and knew it was a woman. The secretary said that if he needed any help in the future, he should just ask. He agreed without realizing someone was behind him. The secretary then asked who that tall woman was. Sirus was all flustered and not knowing what to answer. But then he noticed that Yug had transformed into a human. She clung to Sirus, saying she was his sister. However, she was very close and asking for a kiss, which left Daisy confused. Suddenly, Yug snatched the fruit from Sirus' hand, said goodbye to him, and left. Yug was excited, saying she knew this transformation magic. However, Sirus was dismayed because now he was out of food again. Daisy, on the other hand, was fuming with anger over the whole situation. A while later, our boy was putting on his boots. He had things to resolve and told Yub to buy food in her human form. It was time for him to resume hunting Azathoth. However, when he stepped outside, there was a bag in front of his door. The bag of fruits from before had been left there, along with a note that was clearly from someone angry, apologizing and asking him not to be mad at her. Meanwhile, the group led by the captain from earlier was heading to the S dungeon. He had the perfect map to reach the boss, who was basically dead. Everyone was excited since it would be easy, and the items would be very valuable. He announced that they wouldn't share the items from that place with anyone else. While this was happening, Sirus was walking through the dungeon, easily killing everything. He knew Azathoth was there because of the minimap. The approaching group heard the commotion in the area. The captain warned everyone to stay alert because there was something ahead. Someone was coming from the middle of the field. The captain was confused when he found himself face to face with Sirus again. He immediately questioned if that bastard was there to steal their victory. He asked Sirus what he was doing there, and Sirus replied that he was hunting monsters. Sirus then turned away, saying he came alone and was in a hurry to hunt. The captain suspected that Sirus knew the boss was nearly dead and was there to kill him alone. He shouted to his group that they needed to move quickly. Sirus once again opened the map. The system has always provided the information. He had to move the sword left or right to deactivate or activate the traps. The captain, on the other hand, had wrong information and believed that the sword could be pulled. He directed his team based on his incorrect assumptions, and seeing Sirus standing there, thought the boy had the wrong information. The path lay straight ahead. All they had to do was follow it and kill the nearly dead boss. Suddenly, a giant mouth appeared. It was a dragon, and it seemed someone was riding it. The captain was terrified as he had no information about such a thing. A sweep of the dragon's tail sent a bunch of rocks flying towards them. From above, the dragon seemed to be falling. A muscular girl was holding it by the horn and punched the monster. The dragon's face was smashed against the castle. The captain ordered everyone to run as they were about to be crushed. The remains of the beast fell to the ground, and the leader couldn't believe she had defeated the dragon without using any weapon. She descended and stood face to face with the team. She was Daphne, a rank S hunter from Area K. Daphne asked where they had come from. Embarrassed, the captain replied that they were from Area Z and asked if she was also there to complete the Shia dungeon. She informed them that Area K had not requested support from their area, so were they there to compete by chance? He said no, in fact, he was there to cooperate with her, and it would be an honor to fight together. However, she simply told him that he stood no chance. She did not cooperate with anyone because only weak people depend on others. With that, a strange bubble approached her ear. The energy warned her about a nearby dragon, and a hero asked for support. She crouched down and told everyone to disappear from there, or they would only get in the way. They had no chance as her rivals, so they should consider this a warning. She then jumped, breaking the ground. On the way, she knew by the sound and the warning that she shouldn't be far. Sirus was nearby, impressed that she could fly. The captain was sure she went to the wrong area and thought he could grab the boss's items before she returned. Sirus found it strange that they were in such a hurry. The captain struck a wall with a weapon, saying there was a mechanism there. Immediately, something activated and a door descended, trapping them in the room. The captain said they were now stuck in that place and would get all the items. However, Sirus activated the sword in the center, using all his magical power to try and pull it out. After much effort, the sword was finally removed. Inside, an earthquake began, and he followed the path he knew was right. On their path, the captain was confident since the monsters in that place should be dead. More importantly, he believed Sirus had taken the wrong path and would surely die. What they didn't know was that someone was already waiting for them ahead. One of the guys was startled and told the captain to take a look. A pack of obsidian wolves, ranked B, was approaching. They found it strange but had no choice but to fight. Meanwhile, in the boss's room, Azathoth was sleeping peacefully. She said she was exhausted and had never seen a monster drink so much blood. She reminded Shia to complete his part of the deal. The boss informed her that his strength had multiplied several times. Satyr asked if that boss was really stronger than Sirus. Azathoth said that surely now he would die because that dungeon had something perfect. All the creatures there were male. Sirus found himself face to face with the pack. However, he was confident because the sword he had pulled was very powerful, and the sword had an effect that activated when it hit the right point. For Sirus, that dungeon was going to be a training tool. On the ground, he saw a guy that instructed him to make a cut to the left and to the right. He drove the sword into the ground and began following the movements. With that, the trap in the area was activated, and the wolves were hit by arrows. The problem was that not all of them died and were heading towards him, but Sirus was confident. He easily pulled the sword from the ground and cut down the first wolf. The second came from behind, but he simply turned and struck it in the middle of the head. Meanwhile, the captain's group was fleeing in desperation, unable to handle the situation. They ran back towards the corridor they came from but found themselves facing the barrier they had to close. At that moment, the captain realized he had made a mistake. They had no options as the trap was already behind them. He told the group to deal with the wolves while he found an escape route on the map. So they started fighting to buy time for the captain. The problem was that the map had no information on how to reopen the gate they had closed. Meanwhile, Sirus was once again being attacked. However, he was easily dodging. The sword showed the mechanism of that place again. He drove it into the wall and the gate descended, crushing the two wolves. The gate near the captain's group also began to open. They started to run, but the captain had no idea why it opened. Stumbling, he tried to escape from a wolf that was approaching but got bitten on the leg. Sirus, on the other hand, was confident that everything was very easy. As the captain passed with the wolf, the door closed and cut him in half. The problem was that his entire leg had been destroyed. While Sirus was having fun activating and deactivating the mechanisms, the captain was being carried away, severely injured, and his group suggested giving up. However, he insisted they couldn't do that. or Sirus would take everything. He knew that if he returned without any credit, his brother would kill him. They passed through creatures full of arrows, wondering who had done that. The captain noticed that the map was now drawn inverted. This was because he didn't know that when Sirus activated the mechanism, everything changed. They reached another intersection where they had to choose a direction. Since the map said to go right, he decided to go left. Sirus has always followed only the systems and the sword's instructions until he finally reached the boss room. However, he noticed something strange. The boss of the place was unusually outside the door. At that moment, he understood that Azathoth was inside. The monster roared that he would take Sirus's head to meet his goddess. Sirus questioned the word goddess and asked if the monster thought Azathoth was a woman. The monster replied that Azathoth had a giant mountain, delicate skin, and an enveloping fragrance. If she wasn't a woman, then what was she, a man? Without hesitation, Sirus activated the mechanism beside him, telling the boss he could think whatever he wanted. A giant axe emerged from the ceiling, heading towards the boss, who stood confidently. He easily broke it in half with one attack and shouted for Sirus to come at him. Sirus found it strange that the boss was dealing with the trap so easily. In a second, the boss began to approach, saying Sirus would regret thinking his goddess was a man. Sirus was more concerned with the fight and how fast the monster was. He barely managed to defend himself. The sword he had taken from the dungeon cracked in half. He realized this time it wouldn't be so easy to solve the problem. However, he assured that it was okay since now it was his turn and activated his quick cut ability. In a second, he disappeared in front of the boss and was already behind him, even with a broken sword. He went for a precise attack that the monster shouldn't be able to react to. However, strangely, a clone of Shia appeared behind him and defended the attack. Sirus was confused as to how this was possible since he used his fastest ability. The monster explained that his ability allowed him to create several physical clones. He attacked Sirus again, who barely defended himself. The creature said that his power had been multiplied several times because of Azathoth's blood. Sirus began to realize that this was the strongest monster he had ever faced. The biggest problem was that while he defended against one, another was coming from behind. The cut was close to hitting him, and he had no chance. He stretched out his leg to try and change the direction of the sword. The problem was that even then, he was thrown. The poor guy was thrown against the wall. The monster was still laughing at our boy. With his strength increased multiple times, his clones wouldn't be easy for Sirus to defeat. Meanwhile, the timid captain had once again been taken to a dead-end place. He was about to be crushed, crying for help, shouting to the heavens who would save him this time. Suddenly, the monster's weapon broke in half. The creature had a hole in its head and fell to the ground. Obviously, it was Daphne who had arrived to help. She asked if he had been shouting for help. He was confused and she demanded an answer. The group felt relieved, thinking that if she hadn't shown up, they would all be dead. However, Daphne kicked the captain in the face. Seeing him fall unconscious, the group thought it was the end. She said that the people from areas were pathetic and shouldn't even call themselves heroes for acting like that. If the world depended on them, this entire place would have been taken over by the Demon King already. The captain had passed out and she told them to get out of there before they ended up the same. With that, they carried the captain away, saying there was no way to win anyway. Daphne turned motivated. She was already very late and decided to go straight towards the boss. She jumped and started breaking through all the walls in that place. The girl had a forearm of the Ramon Dino. Meanwhile, Sirus was worn out, realizing he wouldn't be able to strengthen himself enough to win that fight. The clones were hitting him, saying he had to respect Azathoth because she was going to marry them. For the sake of their wonderful love, he had to die. Sirus didn't have any female monsters nearby to strengthen himself, until the wall next to him shattered. Obviously, it was Daphne who had arrived. She saw him and asked why there was another person from Area Z in that region. Seeing he was worn out, she told him to give up because it wasn't worth losing his life there. However, Sirus just said that the boss was stronger than he thought and asked for help. Clearly, for someone who likes to fight alone, this wasn't an option. Sirus told her to look at the target. She ignored what he said and grabbed him by the collar, telling him she would handle it and that the trash from Area Z should leave. However, she got too close and the target was locked. She was about to say she would finish him off, but Sirus made a quick move. At that moment, he gained an additional 1300 power and the favorability jumped to 77%. Poor Daphne was startled and backed off, asking why she had done that, saying she had never kissed anyone before. The boss was behind them, asking why they were flirting and ignoring him. Another clone approached Sirus from the side, saying he deserved to die. However, both dodged the attacks. Now, Sirus managed to retreat and advance towards the creature's lair. Shia quickly realized that he seemed to have gotten a bit stronger with the cut he made on his shoulder. Meanwhile, Daphne was trying to understand why she lost control and felt the urge to do that. The problem was that she liked the warm sensation and wondered if that was what a kiss felt like. And the favorability went up to 85%. An attack was coming straight at her when Sirus told her to snap out of it. She didn't have time to react, so he put his arm up to protect her. The monster's attack seemed to hit full force. Her armor was shattered, and she narrowly avoided death. She was shocked by how easily everything had been destroyed. Sirus warned her to be careful as she was nearly cut in half. Once again, he had to defend her from an attack. She was still struggling to recover due to a strange sensation. It was the favorability that kept rising. She felt as if electricity was running through her body. The favorability was already at 92% and Sirus' power continued to increase. Shea began to get scared because that boy seemed to be getting stronger by the second. Daphne was trying to regain control to fight, experiencing a sensation she didn't quite understand. She told herself she needed to calm down to defeat the boss, but she couldn't. Sirus had saved her life twice and she didn't want to be a burden in this fight. He fell beside her and said they would have to cooperate to win. She said she would never work with him because fighting alone was her principle. However, since there were two creatures, he could face one and she would face the other. With that, they stood side by side. Our boy grabbed her by the waist, saying that with her nearby, he was sure he had the strength to win. At that moment, the poor girl suffered from the sensation again, and the favorability reached 99%. Meanwhile, Azathoth was suffering as her body was reaching its limit. Satyr asked what was wrong, and Azathoth understood that Shea wasn't able to defeat that human. Outside, Daphne was questioning herself, wondering why she made an offer she would never accept. She didn't know if it was because she wanted to fight or if it was because she wanted a like on this video that helps Mamoru make more juicy content for his viewers. Activate the cheeky little bell, and I'm out.